Gamers?
Hello.
Hello.
We live?
We should be.
we're
Yeah,
both
it just popped up now.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Gamers.
I see us.
Oh my goodness. There was a big delay on YouTube. Oh hi. Oh, what's up, Hove? What's up? What's up, guys? Sorry, YouTube was scuffed for a second there. It was like
Yeah, we're all just awkwardly figuring it out, being
trying to
like,
figure out
wait, are we alive?
Are we live? Live? Gamers? What? Welcome, guys, back to another lovely live stream. Hot Retakes live, in fact. We're back here on this lovely, dreary, rainy Wednesday to do a little bit of some tier list action. And I am joined by none other than the lads. I figured I was going to get some other voices in on this list. It wasn't just going to be me talking at you for 3 hours. I really hope this doesn't last 3 hours. And yeah, so I'll let them introduce themselves. You guys probably are more familiar with the guest immediately to my right than down below. But Mr. Devin Coull, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Yes, as some of you may know, writer, host at The Score Esports, along with Dimitri. But I'm not on cam as often, as far as streaming and stuff like that, so I'm happy to be here.
Happy to be
I have to lend my FPS/shooter experience.
Your expertise.
Absolutely.
Down below us is none other than Mr. Magoo O'Keefe. Please give us a lovely little primer on who you are and why you're here.
Hello, what's up, gamers? I'm Magoo O'Keefe. I'm one of the designers here, one of the thumbnail guys. I actually made the thumbnail for this stream that you clicked on, and funny enough, the blurred tier list is the official tier list that I made.
Damn.
So, truth bomb on you guys. This tier list that you're about to see is not the true one. The one you see on the thumbnail is the real graphics guy tier list.
That's the true tier list.
Oh yeah.
That's
but yeah.
I feel like you're couching yourself a bit when you say you're a thumbnail guy. You're so much more than that.
Thank you
especially
so
to me.
much. Yeah. Yeah, I also handle some of the animations, and I'm a gaming degenerate. Yes.
So one of the reasons I have these lads here is because they are they're to varying degrees younger than me. So Magoo, you are how old?
I'm 24, about to turn 25. 97 baby.
97 baby. And Devin, how old are you?
I'm 26. 96 baby.
Okay, so I am 29, about to turn 30 in like 2
Ugh.
months. Yep.
Sorry.
The big 3-0 in 2 months. And I figured that I would get some younger voices on this list. Partly because it's good to have other perspectives, younger perspectives, but also because there are actually a handful of games on this list that I have never played. So I figured that it was good. Instead of just having that boring tier at the bottom that's like never played, I figured we would just get some, get some zoomers in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So people are saying that I'm quieter. I can actually.
Yeah, they're saying I'm crooked too.
You're crooked. No,
You've been crooked though. That's more of a comment on your character rather than.
That's what I was
issue.
thinking. I was like, damn, I'm crooked. That's a new one.
I can put you down like this, and then tuck you in over here. Give you a little nip and tuck there, Magoo.
Yeah.
There you go, buddy. Look out for my homies. Hi, dads.
Thank you.
We're dads now, apparently. Howdy, what's up, goose? Or I guess not a goose. Liz in the chat, love it. And yeah, so today, guys, what are we here? We even talked? We even introed what it is we're here to rank. I mean, I guess people know because it's the title of the stream, but we are here to rank shooters. Now, right off the bat, gonna make a little bit of a caveat here. We are not here to rank all of the shooting games made over the last like 40 odd years. Like that's obviously not, that's just way too Herculean. What we have done is we have compiled a list of generally accepted multiplayer competitive shooters. I don't say FPS because there are games on this list that are third-person shooters, not first-person. So we're just generically shooters in a competitive multiplayer capacity. Whatever you want to do with that. All right.
So question,
go ahead. Devin.
will Tribes Ascend be on this
Tribes
list?
Ascend we've actually made an S+ tier just for Tribes Ascend.
Okay, sick.
Yeah, absolutely sick. So I made this tier maker personally. Like I made the first revision of it and then I sent it to these two guys and I was like, what am I missing? And they made some suggestions and we added some stuff. So yeah, some of it we did by franchise. Like some of them we just grouped together in one franchise, and then others we actually decided to nip and tuck, like cherry pick certain influential, iterations of a particular shooter franchise. If we want to add stuff, we can. We are free to add stuff if we feel like we should. But
Muhammad in the chat is asking if there's BRs in the list, and there are.
There are
yes.
BRs. There are in fact BRs. Yes. So it's a pretty cherry picked list, but the point of cherry picking is not to be exclusionary. On the contrary, it's to just sort of we want the spirit of the list to be sort of like games that people play competitively multiplayer that are shooters, irrespective of genre. So yeah. I guess without further ado, guys, I mean we can just jump into this thing.
Let's dive right in.
Let's just dive
Oh
right
yeah.
in. Let's do it. All right. So
I'm excited.
let's see. Can I get like a full screen of this? No, I got this here. Okay. So let me switch over to this bad boy. And is it gonna give me display capture? No, it's not. I gotta set it up one sec. There we go.
They're like streamer start match.
Streamer
Hurry
start
up,
match.
hurry.
Start match, streamer.
Quick.
Quick. All right, so this is the list. This is the list that we have compiled. All right, and we're gonna make our way through, and we're gonna add stuff. Now, here's one thing that I do when I make lists, guys. I like to have one S tier thing. Only one thing is allowed to be S tier. I am willing to break that rule for two reasons on this list. One, this list is now only partially mine. Two, I feel like it's really hard for this one to only have like one S tier. I would not be opposed to having multiple S tiers. How do you guys feel?
Maybe
I think we let the chat decide on this one.
should we all have
Chat
one
decide.
maybe? Like each of us only get
that's
to
a good
pick
idea.
one that gets to be
No.
But what if we agree?
No, I hate that.
That's
I
true.
hate that. No. We don't get.
Yeah,
a free
what if we
ticket for
all
an
just
S tier.
agree?
No. I feel like we don't necessarily need to have one S tier.
Yeah. No, I think it's fair.
I feel
I
like
think
we
we-
don't necessarily need to.
I think we see how it goes.
Yeah. But I think we don't necessarily need to. I'm fine with having multiple S tiers because I feel like when I ranked other things in the past, like gloves or whatever, I feel like there is genuinely one S tier. In the case of this list, I don't feel like as if there is one S tier. Like I think that there's like a best S tier, but I don't think there is like, only one is deserving of the title S tier. So
I think there's also multiple subgenres within the list that you can't really compare that much. Where it's like there's two. I know there's two S tiers in here.
Yeah.
That I want on S tier.
Yeah.
So I'm down to put two.
Okay. All right. So multiple. We are allowing multiple S tiers. I'm fine with that. That's cool with that. That's kind of what I was preferring anyway. What is this? Dimitri no longer gets to disperse his opinion only. Crazy. I know. You know, the best part is that I made this call. It wasn't even like people came to me and were like, Dimitri, you need to have, this needs to be a democracy. I had the idea of like, why don't we get the boys on here? All right. So, you know what I want to do? Because these just like came in this order. There's like, I want to, at the top of this list, this one right here, Counter-Strike 1.6, I want to defer that. I want to just push that a little bit. One, because I want to get through all of these, and I want to not do it right off the bat and talk about it for 3 hours. So why don't we actually start our best shooter of all time tier list with Fortnite?
Absolutely.
yeah.
There's
let's
no
do
better
that.
place to start.
There's no better place to start than Fortnite. I think that's way more interesting than starting with 1.6. All right?
100% agree.
All right, so, guys, I have an admission to make. I think Fortnite is an extremely cool game. I have always watched it with sustained interest. I think the late game building is actually very cool. Like, I think from a game design standpoint, it is genuinely a very entertaining, fun game to watch. I've never played it. I've never
played it?
even 1 single second Fortnite.
No
not
way.
Because
Not
I'm
an actual gamer.
Not because
What?
I just came up at a time when I was not playing Fortnite. Never played it. Never even once. I'm also not a big Battle Royale guy to begin with, so that's probably another reason why I've never played it. I don't really play BRs. The first BR I ever played was Danger Zone.
I am speechless right now.
I've never played it. So what I want you guys to tell me is I have this clip I pulled up here that I've always really liked. This is like the Booga. I don't know if you guys can see my screen. You guys can see it if you have the stream open. But this is Booga late game, like World Cup building. I think this aspect of Fortnite is extremely cool, but this is about all I really know about Fortnite. So I need you guys to kind of explain to me like what the deal with Fortnite is. I feel like you're an OG, Magoo.
Oh yeah, I'm an OG Fortnite enjoyer. I got Fortnite Save the World in beta.
Oof.
And I paid money for Fortnite. I'm one of the few that had to pay money for Fortnite. I think it was like $49, and I was so hyped up before it was even a Battle Royale. I was there the first day that it became a Battle Royale, and I linked it in our doc about the good old days of how shitty Fortnite was back in the day and how far it came. And I think that just puts like it has such a special place in my heart that, oh man, I'm going to have to rank it high.
Devin, what are your thoughts on Fortnite?
I'm on a similar boat, like literally the exact same story. So I think if you got like the Founders Edition or something like that, sick ad.
Yeah.
I think if you got the Founders Edition, you got like a second copy. So my brother was like watching this game. We obviously like to play games together. And he's just like, hey, I got an extra copy of this game called Fortnite Save the World. It's just like a, tower defense horde game. And I was like, fuck it. Yeah, why not? Let's play.
Yeah.
And we played it and we had a good time. And then I just remember like the Battle Royale part came out. And like that $40 or $50 that you had to spend to get it, they gave you fucking nothing when you like moved over. Like the game absolutely blew up and they gave nothing to any of the people that originally. They gave like the
shittiest skin of all time.
Yeah, it's like, so funny.
Worst skin.
So mechanically, I feel like Fortnite is an extremely sophisticated game, especially when you get into the late game. Like that's why I picked this, because not just because it's an iconic win, but like because like, bro, I've never understood like the boomer shit talking against the Fortnite.
Oh yeah,
streamer. Like this game is incredibly mechanically intensive. Like it's really really hard, and like I feel like it's an expressive game. Like I feel like you can express yourself when you play Fortnite mechanically, and like
oh yeah.
Despite that, I've never played it. I just gleaned this from watching the game.
And you can express yourself through the item shop.
It's true.
Through
you can
skins.
get there's some drip.
Yeah, you can get some drippy ass skins on Fortnite, which is the best part about Fortnite. Also, I just think the mechanics are so interesting because it took so long to create. I think it took like almost a decade to create Fortnite. Which a lot of people don't know. People always like pin Fortnite as this overnight success story, where Unreal has been developing the game for so long, and the art style has changed so much, and like I think the art direction and everything is just incredible, and that's the reason why I think it blew up so much as it did.
Yeah, the thing about it being a kids game too is kind of like, I guess, a bit of a misnomer, because like it's not like there's 8-year-olds playing Counter-Strike. Like I was an 8-year-old once upon a time playing Counter-Strike. So just like it's not like it's just because I think of like the art style coupled with how popular it is, and like the moving on into like the like sort of like the YouTube era and the information era, right? Like it just like so on screen you see so many clips of kids playing it that like maybe that's what sort of lent itself to like people considering it like a child's game. But I also have to commend go ahead. I just also have to commend what like they are able to do with like seasons in that game, I guess, as you would call it. It's like tons of games do it, but like there's so like when I think about something like Warzone, when they're like, oh, we finally changed Verdansk or whatever, or like did something to it, and it like looks almost identical. Whereas like it seems like I didn't follow like Fortnite for like every season they went through and every update, but it'd be like you'd log in like 6 months after not playing the game, it'd be a completely different map with like a completely different set of weapons. All the stuff's different. Yeah, new mechanics, and you're like, oh wow, like they're changing the shit out of
new-
this game all the time.
I mean, this is the thing I brought up here, which is the sword, right? So, because this is probably the most famous example of like the thing about Fortnite that is crappy is that the game is obviously designed to be like a casual. It's basically a social network, right? Like it's basically just like a place where kids go and hang out, and
It's like Roblox.
Basically, it's basically OG Roblox, and like the problem with this game obviously is that like it's really hard to be a sustainable esport when like the competitive integrity is always secondary to like the new content that's just gonna be like, wow, this is crazy, right? And like, look at that, like, and I just feel like this is sort of like the downside of this game. You know what I mean? Is that like the reason why like from an esports standpoint it sort of just never really took off, or like when it did take off, it just sort of plummeted very quickly. Yeah. I think Fortnite's
I agree.
a really
I think
cool game.
Fortnite as an esport is just kind of a weird vibe because it is basically a party game
Yes.
that you want to play with your friends, and it's so
Yes.
random. I feel like BRs as an esport is pretty strange to me because they inherently are solely based on RNG for the most part. Like you can't choose your own loadout, you can't do all that.
Well,
So
we'll
I
talk about
agree
that
with
with
you on the
other ones.
esports side.
Yeah. Fortnite
Yeah,
feels like it's the worst of the bunch, right? It has the
Yeah.
most chaotic injections of insanity, right?
It's also just like a literal ad. Like the
Yeah.
whole game is just an ad for like every product known to mankind.
I have your Fortnite season 1.
Oh, this is the classic. This is what Fortnite was back in the day when I first started playing. No one knew how to build. The way to build on controller was so hard that you weren't really able to build and fight at the same time. Like I remember when people started putting up like walls during fights, and it was like blowing people's minds. Like when you started like building staircases to heaven, and like people were trying to figure out this new game that never really existed before. I think it was just beautiful because it was just like people were figuring stuff out, and then people were making YouTube videos being like, "Oh, you can do this, and it's just really interesting to see how people push the game and how it evolved.
The thing I'll also say to add to this, and then we can sort of decide, we can start talking about where we actually want to put this thing, is, and I talked about this in the recent Don't At Me, right? The Valorant console version Don't At Me. I think people significantly, like in North America especially, significantly underestimate what Fortnite did for PC gaming. Before Fortnite, like when I was growing up, and the age gap between us is like not super significant, like 5 odd years, right? But like when you're talking about when I was 16 versus when you were 11, or like when I was 12 and you were 7, like the consoles were just like everything in North America, right? Like I was a edgy, sweaty, kid who played CS when I was 8, and like that was so rare in North America. Like everybody was playing PlayStation and Xbox, and like myself included. And
you had to
Fortnite
choose one.
yeah.
Like if you were a PlayStation guy or girl, you couldn't really play with your Xbox friends.
No, you could not.
There was a true console wars, and I think Fortnite put everyone together, and they were the Switzerland of the console.
There's a lot of like cracked. Like there's a lot of cracked 16-year-olds, right, with mouse and keyboard, and there was a lot more of them after this game came out. Like this game did a lot for PC gaming in North America, and I know there's like this zeitgeist of shitting on the game. There always has been, right? But like it really did do a lot, and it fed a lot of kids into games like Valorant, right? And even CS:GO, and like it deserves a shout out for that reason too. All right, so where do you want to put this thing, guys? I mean, keeping in mind that there's only 5 tiers, and that we are talking about the history of shooters. Like I said this when I do my glove, my knife tier list. Like if you put something in B tier, like that's not a knock, right? That's just
that's why, for that reason, I think it's got to be a B, at least for me.
Okay.
Because like if we're also talking about it as like not just like as a shooter, but also like as like a competitive shooter, it's just like it just does not retain my interest.
It really suffers, possibly more than any other game on this list. Like possibly it suffers competitively. The game was not designed to be competitive, not from a mechanical standpoint, but from a content standpoint, right? And I think that definitely is a serious knock against it, considering the shooters that it's hanging with on this list, right?
I think Fortnite is very low A tier, high B tier. because I think it's done a lot for the space
Yep.
and got a lot of people into esports that never knew esports existed. So I think it has done so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Fortnite was the gateway drug
Yep.
for a lot of gamers.
Definitely.
Where it's
Sure,
like,
sure.
oh, I'm playing Fortnite casually, and then you look into esports, you start watching Ninja, you start watching Tfue, start watching all those guys, and you're like, oh, there's other games out there that are more competitive. I want to scratch that competitive itch, and maybe you get into CS or Siege from Fortnite.
I think right now a high B tier is a good place to put it, and we are obviously free to move things as we keep going on the list, right? But I think
Yeah.
starting it in high B tier is a very fair place to put it. I think it's a very fair place to put it.
Yeah.
Someone just asked in chat. I'm not going to stop too often for this stuff, but I did just want to say for this one, because the three of us did talk about it. It's not that someone asked about Tarkov. It's not that Tarkov is too weird for this list. We just decided that it didn't really embody the spirit of a like competitive, like multiplayer, like PvP. Like I know it is all of those things technically, but Tarkov to me still feels more akin to like a RuneScape or a Destiny or like a WoW or like, you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
it just didn't quite feel. It's not that we don't think it's a good game. It's just we don't think it quite feels like it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so-
earlier someone mentioned like the Hunt Showdown. Like the Hunt Showdown is my S tier shooter, but it's just like it's so much more than just like a competitive shooter. Like I think you said earlier when we were talking about it, like they almost have like an RPG element to them. Like there's carryover. There's so much. It's so much more than just like a shooter.
Yeah, exactly.
But like those games, like I don't think it's hard to say that like if they were to be on this list, those games would be highly rated because they're so like what they've been able to do for the shooting community and like the hardcore shooter community is just crazy.
Yeah,
But just for the fact that like they're not competitive shooters, you wouldn't really call it that.
Not really. No.
Yeah.
Not really. And if we were to put Tarkov, it would open up a can of worms of just like, well, now we have to put Hunt Showdown. Now, and I just feel like it's just easier.
Now Arma 3.
Arma 3, exactly. Like it's just, and these are games that we don't really consider to be like competitive in that sense, right? So yeah.
Dimitri, I'm not trying to be the production guy right now, but Elizabeth from the Score Esports has just informed me that you're a little low on the mic.
I'm a little low. You know the funny thing
like,
is, I'm
little
trying
quiet.
to raise it, and I literally can't raise it anymore.
I love that
Oh,
you downplayed what she said because she said insanely quiet. You're like, yeah, you're like a tiny bit low.
Yeah, you're a tiny bit low. You're low physically on the camera too. So
Does this if I
my
up it-
communication
yeah.
was not the best there.
Okay. I'm assuming, in terms of mic, that should be better, right, chat? I'm turning the knob up just a little bit physically on the Behringer. That's why I'm asking. Okay, I'll keep it like this. It also depends, obviously, how far I sit with the mic. I'll try to keep it like try to keep it distance. Okay, I'm gonna put this off. I'm gonna put off 1.6 until I feel like it's time to dive into it. So let's just assume it's not the thing there, and we'll move on. I can't believe we're already here, guys. Damn. All right, it's time for Valorant. We're already at the time. Valorant.
Oh man.
All right, Valorant. All right. So I didn't really compile a lot for Valorant. The only thing I really wanted to compile was stuff to sort of just like visually highlight what it is we're talking about when we talk about it when it comes to the game, how it plays. I have stuff to say about Valorant, obviously, but I want to let you guys start us off with Valorant. So Devin, first things first. I want you to sort of give me your shtick. What's your take?
I enjoy Valorant. I think it is a good game. Bold take, but I think it is a very good game, and there's a lot of things to like about it. And coming from someone who played Counter-Strike as like their competitive shooter for most of their life, like there's a lot of things that it does better. The major thing is just content. Like content is just like it's nice to play a game that like it feels like the developers like actually give a shit, which is like an obvious like complaint with Counter-Strike. But like at the same time, it just like it also just doesn't feel the same as Counter-Strike, like as far as like being the perfect competitive shooter. Like Counter-Strike, and I don't want to talk too much about Counter-Strike because we're going to get to it, but Counter-Strike almost feels like a mathematical game. Like everything you do is essentially going to happen the exact same time. If you were to do it the same way. So like smoke lineups, all that kind of stuff. Valorant is a lot more deliberate in everything you do. Like you're placing a smoke here, you're shooting an ability here. And with just all of the things that have been added to this game, in just a year or two that it's been out, I could see it kind of might be getting to a point where it like might get a little insane. Oh, sick! You're using our video.
I'm using our video.
But yeah, like I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. I just think from like and I feel competitive when I play it. Like I get the same feeling when I'm playing this as I do with like other competitive shooters that I like. I just think like when it comes to watching it as a competitive esport, I much rather be playing it, which I know a ton of you guys are probably going to say the same thing. I rather be playing it. Whereas like when I'm watching certain games, I'm like, oh, this game rules. Like I love watching it, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm going to play it after. When I'm watching someone play Valorant, I'm like, I just want to play this game right now because it's so much more fun to play than to watch other people play.
Do you agree, Magoo, that the gun? Actually, I want to start by asking, do you agree that the game is more fun to watch or than play, or vice versa?
I think it's more fun to play than watch.
Yeah.
I think what Valorant does great, and what Riot Games does great in general, is they steal ideas and they take hardcore concepts like from Dota and like from CS and make it more palatable for a general audience.
Yep.
I think one thing that both you and I complain about is the movement in Valorant. It's obviously dog shit and not as good as CS:GO. But the CS:GO movement is so intricate that a new player wouldn't be able to, like, it's annoying. You're basically on skates compared to Valorant, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think they've done a lot of great quality of life things that CS doesn't have that they should be adding, and it's weird that they don't. Like the fact that you can buy for your teammates in a menu, that you don't have to drop a gun, you can refund your gun. It's very, very noob friendly, and that's what I like about it, because I can play with my friends who haven't played FPS, didn't grow up playing FPS, and they can still have a fun time and learn how to enjoy an FPS. Where CS, it's kind of like, it's so hard. I feel like it's so hard to get into. I grew up playing it, and it's my baby. Like, I love it so much, but I don't want to be like, hey guys, we should go play some CS. This is a great first pack shooter that you should pick up.
It's funny that I didn't ask either of you about Valorant vis-a-vis Counter-Strike. All I did was ask you about Valorant.
But you have to.
You have immediately the two of you started talking about CS. I actually think that's true, and it's not true that you have to. Like, you didn't talk about it vis-a-vis any other games on this list. You only talked about it vis-a-vis CS, which is obviously interesting. But I think that here's what I'll say about Valorant. So, from a game design standpoint, I think that Valorant does not feel as good as a lot of other shooters. I don't think it feels as good as CSGO. I don't think it feels as good as 1.6. I don't think it feels as good as Siege. I don't think it feels particularly good to play. I understand why it's designed that way, but it just doesn't really, I don't know.
I have a counterpoint to that. I agree with you that mechanically it doesn't feel as good, but that sound design though.
Oh yeah, the sound design.
The sound design is so crispy.
So here's
getting an ace in Valorant is like endorphin rush, dopamine rush. Like, I am craving aces. Like, it makes me just want to run down,
chase frags,
and chase frags. That's I only play Neon because I want to hear that do 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 and just be like, let's go, boys.
It's literally like the Pavlov's dog of like,
I've said since day one, man, that the genius, you know that scene from The Social Network, like when Justin Timberlake like gives the name, like you guys know what I'm talking about, or are you too young for this? Yeah. Drop the just call it Facebook, right? Whoever the genius motherfucker over at Riot Games who had the idea to have the scale ascending with every frag is actually, like, it's such a little thing, but it's such an incredible design decision, right?
It was an intern that doesn't work there anymore.
Social
just
media
randomly
manager,
was like, we should probably do this.
Okay, so I'll make a... Sorry, Devin, you can make your point while I try to find this clip.
Yeah, the only other thing that I would say, and this is like literally like kind of has... It's a weird way to like praise a game because it kind of has almost nothing to do... It's not like intentional, or it's obviously intentional because every game wants this to happen, but it was really nice, especially back during like peak COVID era or quarantine era, that like to have a game that everyone was kind of obsessed about. Like it like took over, like obviously like there's certain games like, you know, Warzone takes over, or Overwatch takes over, but it dies out. But it was like a solid like year and a half where like I've only felt it start to die off a little bit just recently, I think, with games like Overwatch and another Warzone coming out. It started to maybe like dwindle a bit, but like having everybody like care about it was really cool. Like just to, like everyone wanted to play it. People that like never played shooters are like, I'm gonna give it a try. Like I'm gonna give it a try. I haven't played a shooter since Return to Castle Wolfenstein, but now I'm gonna play.
Yeah, I think that goes back to my point of Riot making games noob friendly, and I think that is the best possible way to go about shooters. Making a shooter that is easy to learn, hard to master. I think is the wave, because I love CS:GO so much, but it's so hard to convince someone to play CS:GO.
I will just
so
say,
scary.
and I just have this point because I want to make it because it's really important. People didn't have any problems. Like CS:GO is a very hard game. Don't get me wrong. It's a really, really hard game. My super spicy hot take that I don't actually think is that spicy is that CS:GO is easier to learn than Valorant. The things that make CS:GO hard have nothing to do with the game. They have to do with the infrastructure. Like explaining to someone how to download Faceit or make a jump bind is way more important, is way more difficult than like the M4 just has a spray pattern that works. The Phantom doesn't, right? So like when you're teaching someone how to play Valorant and they're not killing anybody, like then they can't understand why, they go play CS:GO and they're like, holy shit, the AK actually works in this game. Damn. But people had no problem learning CS for literally 20 years until this game came out, and then everybody was like, oh, but CS is just so intimidating, it's just so scary. And like I really do think that it's a little bit of a like retroactively rewriting history. This idea that the second this game came out, CS:GO somehow became this thing that was like outrageously daunting, Dota caliber, and how impenetrable it was, which I just don't think is true. Like back in 2015, like you were there, Magoo. You remember, like back in 2015, everybody was playing.
Everyone
CS:GO.
played CS, yeah.
Like it was not hard.
I think they just haven't been adapting the game with the quality of life shit that they need to do. Like
I don't disagree with that.
High
I don't
kick
disagree
servers.
With that. Yeah. Okay.
It's insane to just be like, oh yeah, if you want to play competitively, you have to download.
Okay, so I'm going to cut you off only because I'm going to get to this point. So from a gameplay standpoint, the thing, you know that they interviewed Nico recently at the what the hell was the tournament? They were running the clip, I think, at the major. That's what it was. It was the major. And he was like straight up like talking shit. He was just like, yeah, people post these clips on Twitter and they get like a Valorant 4K. And I'm just like, homie, you were holding your crosshair on a doorway and 4 people walked into it. Like, and then the crowd's like going insane and the casters are like losing it. Yeah. Like, I picked this clip not because this is not a sick clip, like, but like this is exactly sort of what I'm talking about. Valorant is a very slow, choppy, stodgy game. It is like everything moves really slow.
It's a little grueling.
It's really grueling. It's easy. It just is. It's just easier to hit headshots in this game than it is to hit headshots in CS:GO. It moves a lot at a much more like again, molasses-like pace. From a game design standpoint, Valorant needs work, in my opinion. I just don't think it feels particularly good. And I'm not just saying this vis-a-vis CS. I don't think it feels particularly good vis-a-vis Siege. I don't think it feels very good vis-a-vis some old versions of COD. Like, never mind something like fucking Quake or TF2. I think that Valorant does not feel particularly great. That said, I think Valorant is a B-tier shooter. I think it's a B-tier shooter in terms of how it feels. That said, the things that Valorant brings to the table are so big. It is a free-to-play game with 128-tick servers and a real anti-cheat that actually works. It has a streamlined esports scene that is advancing more by the day. The game itself, it's mid. It's absolutely mid. Like, from a game design standpoint, it's mid. The actual infrastructure around the game, 100% knocks it up to A tier. It for sure does. Like,
I totally agree with that. Fertilino in the chat just said Valorant should be really 4% faster, which I totally agree. I think it should just be a little bit faster, and then it would be a great game.
I think a low A tier, we don't have anything else here right now, so we can see where it actually falls, but the game is made A tier because of the ancillary services, features, like you mentioned, Magoo, quality of life upgrades, support, stuff like that. I think the worst part about Valorant is the game. The game itself is like the most sort of shrug. It's really not that fun. But the actual, like...
Well, the mechanics.
The mechanics is what I mean. The mechanics are sort of like, But the fact that I can just play the game. Like, Shroud has said this on stream like 100 times. Like, he will often say it doesn't have anything to do with whether CSGO is a better or worse game than Valorant. It's the fact that to play CSGO, I have to, like, fucking like my OBS collides with my anti-cheat. I have to use a display capture versus a game capture if I'm using versus face it.
Yep.
And even like, and my config is like, it's just, yeah.
And you have to like go into settings to change, like the way that you have to change settings is like you have to go into the console to change everything, map keybinds and all that. Like it's just so intense. And then also the community, like I'm gonna just be honest, the CS:GO community is really intense compared to the Valorant.
They're very gatekeepy, and it drives me fucking crazy. I think that the Valorant community gets a bad rep for what it's worth, because I think a very large portion of the Valorant community are 16-year-old swamp creatures who won't be playing the game in another 8 months. Another thing will come out, they'll go start playing that, and then the actual Valorant community will stay behind, and they won't be nearly as toxic. That's my take. But
I've also never seen like women play a game and enjoy themselves like without like any consequences. Obviously it still happens in Valorant.
It happens
like,
a lot in Valorant.
It happens a lot in Valorant, but like in CS it will happen every time.
Yeah.
Whereas like in Valorant you can have a, you can get lucky and maybe you can have a fun experience without getting fucking harassed. But like essentially every other game out there that has like team chat and shit like that, you're probably going to be like facing that. So I do like that. It like I said, it like obviously it was the intention of Riot to like have this game blow up, but it is just always cool to see a game that like truly like everyone kind of like cares about.
And I think that's what people should advocate for, like more gamers. Like I think it's weird that like CS:GO elitists are like, no, I hate Valorant, but it like just adds more people to the genre, which is always good, and it's better for esports as a whole. It's better for the quality of life and better events. If there's more people, there's just gonna be bigger, better events, and like why gatekeep? It makes no sense.
I could do a whole, Liz just said she could do a whole stream. I could do a whole stream on this, and I'm not going to, because I'm just going to start. Yeah. But CS is very bad in this respect. I don't want to delve too deep into things like the community because it matters, but obviously we're here just to treat the games, and I don't, we should try. So
Valorant's an easy A tier.
I think it's, I actually, this is my hot take. I actually don't think it's an easy A tier, like for the reasons people think it is. I think that it absolutely is undeniably A tier, but it has to do with things that if other games could fix, wouldn't look so impressive if Valorant could do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like if Siege had a functional fucking anti-cheat, I wouldn't be so quick to put Valorant in A tier. I'll be honest.
What it kind of reminded me of, or like what Valorant kind of reminds me of, is like, even though no one like did what you're talking about, but like remember when Apex first came out and they had the ping system, and then like next week every battle
everyone
royale
had the yeah.
We're just like, oh, we got the ping system.
ping
That's
system.
kind of like Valorant, but like no one has the balls to just like be like, fuck it, we're just gonna do this. We're just gonna take the shit from Valorant now. Like this was a good ass idea.
I wish they would. All right,
yeah.
Let's move on to Quake, because this is gonna be one that's sort of, I put the Quake 3 logo here because Quake 3 is goated for me. But this is one of the franchises that I'm just going to treat at large. If I had to individually rank the Quakes, we'd be here all day. So I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, let's just take like Quake as an esport. Have either of you guys played Quake?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I have never played Quake.
Magoo's never played
Quake.
Quake.
100 with you guys.
Keeping it 100 over here.
I've never played Quake, but I've played Quake Light, like roguelites.
Yeah.
That are really fun, and I would love to play Quake. It looks like a fun game. So
for those who don't know, because there might have people like in chat who don't really know that, Quake is sort of just like inarguably the first great multiplayer shooter. It is like chronologically, it is like the first great one, and it is a game that basically sort of, I mean, it's not unfair to say kicked off multiplayer FPS in a way that is meaningful until 1.6 came along, basically. And it is mechanically, it's an arena shooter, as you can see from the footage here. There's just some really classic Annihilation Quake 3 highlights. It's a very, very mechanically difficult game. Very fast. High sensitivity, like really, 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 like very aim intensive, very hard. Sort of the opposite of Counter-Strike, sort of the opposite of everything that tac shooters are. That's Quake. Has struggled a lot as an esport in, I wouldn't even just say recent years, but like the majority of its lifespan. It has really sort of struggled to take off. I mean, there's reasons for that. that are sort of ancillary to this list. But yeah, Devin, you said you've played Quake. What Quake did you grow up playing? You know, what's your sort of take on the game, the genre?
Yeah. So like obviously I like at this point I've played like the original like basically Quake 1, 2, and 3. Like mostly after the fact. I might have played like a bit with my godfather like back in the day. But the one I played the most was let me see what it was called. I think it was called
There's a guy
Quake,
in the
Quake
comments
Territories.
called Get Quaked On, and he just said the game is too hard for people, which I think is true.
It is
I
a
think
very hard game.
Enemy
Yes.
Territories Quake Wars.
Oh, that was so sick.
I played the shit out of this one. It had like vehicles and stuff, so it was like a pretty big departure from like Quake, I guess, as like in what its roots were. But like 2007, like that's just like the era of when I was like playing a lot of games and like getting introduced to a lot more games.
Yes.
And yeah, I played the hell out of this game. I think it was one of these ones where like I kept renting it from like the same place up the street, and then eventually just bought it off of them. And I was like, can I just buy this game? I'm the only one that's renting it.
Quake gamers are some of the finest gamers, like Annihilation, like Rafa, like Thresh. Like they're some of the finest gamers ever to game. It is
bring
like
back Quake?
Dude, people
It exists.
Magoo, people have been saying this for like 15 years, dog. Like literally easily the last 10 years people have been saying this.
Quake is free to play now.
Yes.
And I played it quite. I have,
For real?
Yeah,
it's called Quake
yeah.
Champions.
It's called Quake
I think I
Champions,
have like 11 hours in it, maybe. Like I played it a little bit. Like I'll download it every once in a while when I feel like playing it. It's just like isn't perfect. Like it isn't like what you would want it to be. But it's still good. It just like it needs something. It needs like a whole like huge budget. Like just put like a whole revamp.
Quake is
Is there a way to
tough.
play the OG ones?
I'm
on
sure.
Steam,
I'm sure you can get them. Yeah,
Maybe
there's
Flip
definitely
on
like.
Steam?
Maybe. I think they're on Steam. I haven't
should
played
do a Quake in-house.
a Quake in-house, dude. I would. Be
Oh, you
so
can
I
down.
think
definitely
that would be
you can
sick.
definitely set up an easy LAN. With
Yeah,
this.
you could
Like,
definitely
the game.
do it,
The
yeah.
game fits on like a thumb drive.
It fits on a yeah. You could.
That
easily
is
do it.
sick. Yeah, OG Quake. Oh my god, this like I'm just watching the stream right now.
Yeah,
this looks like
it's-
straight up my alley. Like
There
I
is
wanna
nothing.
just
There is.
grind Quake.
You'd love this game, Magoo. You also play on a high sensitivity, so you'd really enjoy this
Yeah.
game. There is no like. There's only one game that really comes to mind, which we'll talk about later, which like parallels this game in terms of just the difficulty of mechanics. But like, it is like impossible to overstate how fucking cracked you had to be good at this game. Like you had to be like the movement alone, as someone already said in chat, was just like impossible to master. Never mind the aiming. Like the aiming in this game is crazy. Here's the thing about Quake. Quake just it had its heyday, and it just never really was able to stick around. There's a variety of reasons. I think this is just my opinion, but I think that one, I do think that team-based tac shooters were just more interesting from a spectator standpoint, right? Like all the reasons we currently in 2022 love watching CS and Valorant and Siege, like the painstaking, slow, you know what I mean? Like it's just more interesting in a sense, like from a spectator standpoint. But you know, Quake is very arcadey. It's sort of very gamey, right? Doesn't have that sort of like same appeal that.
Yeah, there's no AK-47 or M4, which is like, like you can't discount the fact that like people just have like a certain desire to play games with like, you know, that are sort of a little bit more based in reality, I guess.
Yeah.
Even like obviously like there's crazy skins in certain games and blah blah, but like to have that certain base, even to an extent, a game like Halo, which we'll obviously talk about, like. It has like military style weapons where like this is like a crazy game with crazy weapons, and like I think we need to bring that back. Like I want
like,
fucking wild ass weapons that make
agree.
no sense.
I agree. Yeah. And just for those who don't in the chat don't know, like fragging, the term fragging comes from Quake, right? Like it's game. Yeah, the game is so
WASD comes from Quake.
Popularized by Thresh. Yeah, in Quake. Quake is so foundational to shooters, and I don't just mean multiplayer shooters. Like I grew up playing Quake 1 and 2, the single player games with my dad on PC, right? Like this game is so foundational to shooters in general that like it can't be overstated. In terms of how to rank this, I think it's really, really, really hard. I think that, there are basically There's only two possibilities. You can only have Quake in S tier or A tier. Historically, there's just no other place they can be. Like, it can be. It has to be one of the two. The only thing, I think S tier is a very safe bet, even if it's a low S tier, because we've decided that we're going to do multiple S tiers. But because there are things that I would not fault the game for, but like there are things about the game that you know, it didn't hold up. It is very, very, very close to being dead right now, if not, you know, outright dead. It's
We're
really,
gonna revive it though. We're
people,
reviving.
Magoo, honestly,
that's
man,
my mission in life.
It makes me happy you're saying this, Magoo, because people have actually been trying to revive this game for over a decade. And you know that, what's the game, chat? Someone can help me. The one that James made. What's the Too Good made? Diabolical? Is that what it's called?
Oh, I was about to say, remember all of the there's
Diabolical, yeah. Yeah.
All the games that came from Quake. Like Soldier of Fortune.
Yeah.
Was a Quake game. Kingpin. Do you guys remember that game? That game was fucking crazy.
Below Valorant, over my dead fucking body, Skip. Absolutely not.
Here's the thing though that you're saying, and I'm curious, if Quake ended back in like 2007,
yeah,
would it be an instant S tier? The fact that it still exists and is struggling, does that bring it down?
This is the thing. This is the thing, right? People say this about Brood War. Like, Brood War lasted for, you know, 10 odd years, and like it was, you know, the golden age and the platinum age, and right, like it's almost the fact that it got that it you know, we remember it as it was, right? You know what I mean? So like, there's no way for it to age poorly.
Yeah, I think like nothing would exist without it. So I think
it
has to be S tier. I don't think it can. Yeah,
don't put it on S tier.
Even if it's
we gotta pay our respects to Quake.
It's the same reason, like, because we literally just gave it to
respects.
Valorant for that reason.
Yeah,
for like the fact that it's
you're
been
right.
so revolutionary. It's just like all these games we're talking about today wouldn't exist.
I agree. Okay, Quake S tier. I'm glad we got to pay our respects to it. I'm glad to hear you say that, Magoo. You should get into it, bro. Quake is sick.
I've never even played it, but
you should. It's sick.
I'm gonna be on a Quake kick pretty soon.
Dude.
Also, Unreal Tournament.
Unreal Tournament. I know someone mentioned it. Yeah, in chat. Yeah. All right. So next up is Apex Legends. Apex Legends, I've played only a handful of times. It is the only other battle royale that I have played. Actually, that's not true. I've played Warzone like once, but it's the only battle royale really that I've played other than Danger Zone. How do we feel about Apex? I don't really have strong feelings about Apex Legends, so I'm sort of interested to hear like what you guys think. Are either of you big Apex stans?
I love Apex.
Okay.
I also love Apex. I don't play it. I used to play it when it came out with my boys Luca and Sam. Shout out to them. They're still playing to this day on console. My main concern of Apex is console versus PC. I feel like Apex on console is more fun because I just feel like battle royales are silly, you know? And I feel like whenever I play Apex on PC, it's just way too stressful because people are just too good and I get shitted on every single time.
I get shitted on.
Like, yeah, I get shitted. Remember when we were playing with Liz?
Yeah.
Like a couple months ago? Like, it's fun. But it's like, it's just not fun to get dumpstered by people who are way better than you. Like, the skill ceiling is so high. The movement's incredible. Everything's incredible. Like, it's just such a hard game to master, like, get into, to have fun on PC. But casually on console, it's fun.
Is Apex the perfect... I'm trying to move us along, not to not give these games their due, but so we can give every game their due. Is Apex the perfect expression thus far of a battle royale?
It is the best battle royale.
It's the best royale
it
thus far,
is
right?
definitely best battle royale.
So the question that I have, and we could talk about Apex, but I think honestly, there's not that a lot that needs to be said. Like we all play it, we've all watched it. The movement is sick, the guns are sick, the esports side of it is incredible. Like I've been watching Apex esports, really loving it. Here's my question, and I think this is kind of what it boils down to from that: is it better than Valorant in terms of what it has done for BRs, how revolutionary it's been? The biggest knock against Valorant really is that the game is alarmingly unoriginal, like Valorant, right? Like it is like the difference between League of Legends and Dota is like a chasm. Like they are so different. The difference between Valorant and CS:GO is like almost negligible, right? So my question is, like, as a game, if we were to put it A tier, is it above Valorant, below Valorant? Is it a high B tier? I understand that the anti-cheat issues are like a huge problem in this game. Yeah. Like, what do we feel? Crossplay is also a huge issue. Like, is it a high B tier?
Put it on B tier. No way, because I feel like that's just a disservice to the BR genre. That just means the best
The best
BR
BR
possible
BR
is just a B
tier.
tier.
But
That's
hold on,
like-
but hold on, Magoo. Is that a fair thing to say? Because we've also talked about how BRs struggle, like esports wise, they struggle competitively. Your loadout is RNG, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not so much of it is not, you know, like in your own hands, right? High B tier is not an insult. I said at the beginning.
I don't think
of
it
this
is
list.
either.
It's
I
not
don't
an
think it is
insult.
either.
A high look,
You're,
But, like-
Quake
you're
is S tier.
turning me
bro.
around on this. I'm gonna be honest.
My only problem, and I could see it both ways, and that's a problem. Like my heart wants to say high B, like above Fortnite, obviously, but like the problem is that like Apex was able to do so many things that like revolutionized BRs, whereas Valorant is, you know, a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yep.
It's a very good one, but like Apex was just so original in a lot of ways that it feels bad to say that it's
Yeah.
worse than Valorant. But at the same time, like I think like maybe 10 years from not 10 years from now, 5 years from now, we might not be saying the same thing. But I don't know. I don't know.
think that- I
it's
think that-
going to be the only BR in A tier if we put it there. So I am perfectly fine with putting it.
I don't know if I'm sold that it's A tier, and that's not a knock against the
Mhm.
game. I just don't know.
I think it's a knock against the genre.
I think it's a
Yeah.
knock
Which
against the
it
genre.
is-
I think
it
it's a knock
might
against the
might
genre.
be fair.
It might be fair. It might be fair, honestly.
BRs are long and boring. Like
The
there's
other-
a lot of downtime on BRs, but I like it. I like BRs as casual games because you can just talk with the homies, right? Like you can shoot the shit with the homies for
Yeah.
40
Mhm.
minutes and then stress out for 10, and it's
Absolutely.
done.
Absolutely. But there's also a lot of times where I have played 3 or 4 matches in a row where I got fucked because of my landing. And mind you, I'm not a great BR player. Like I'm not some great, so like obviously I'm just sort of a noob, but like there's a lot of times when I've spent like 3 matches like trying to just have a game. And like I never really get one because of the
Colton?
way
Colton's saying a good point in the
he is saying
comments.
that there is arenas.
There's non-BR
Yes,
modes.
there is arenas.
But
I will.
feel like,
I will download the game. Like read. I mean, I always have it downloaded, but like I will get back into the game and
Yeah.
just play. It's elimination, right?
Yeah, I think they rotate. There was this gun game mode that was so sick, and then they got rid of it, and I was like, okay, I'm not playing Apex anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like the
I think-
3v3 in its own is such a good game. It's
I
just,
think
like,
that it's
so
like
much
it's
fun.
tough because I really could also see, depending on how this shakes out, I could also really see Valorant going very high B tier.
Mhm.
And the gap between Valorant and Apex being closed, I love how you just literally can't see it because of the black on black. And the gap being closed even further sort of between these two games, right? Because remember, it's important to say, we are literally talking about like the history of shooters. I know it's
Yeah, no,
right
for
now,
sure.
recency bias is a thing.
That's what I
Valorant's
mean.
fun
I think
and-
you're right.
yeah,
I think
we're
things
talking
are
about
going
the
to change.
history of shooters. I don't know if Apex yet, at least. You know, a high B tier is still like really complimentary on this list, right? Like considering the scope of games that we are talking about, right? I think that I would love to see it above Valorant just for my own personal kicks, but
The CS
Why don't we
supremacy
just
here.
why don't we just do it?
I mean, here's the
What if
thing.
we just
Here's
do
the
it?
thing. My argument for Valorant, I'm being as objective as I possibly can because I'm not holding punches. I don't think Valorant's a good game. I just don't. I've said it since the closed beta. But I think that the infrastructure that it offers is so important at this
Yeah.
stage that I just and which Apex does not offer. Like in the sense that people are whining all the time about how many cheaters are in Apex Legends, right? And I think that it's really tough. Like these two, I think are really tough. I think that Apex is probably a better game, but the infrastructure and the genre of which it's a part are lesser than Valorant. Valorant picks the perfect genre, has all the ancillary services you could ever want, but the game is sort of shrug, right? This is a tough one. This is a really tough one.
It is. I
It's
think this is
really
probably one of the
tough.
harder ones.
This is
Yeah.
very
in
hard.
here.
Very hard. Let's keep it like this for now. I'm actually
Yeah.
compelled. I want to take Valorant down from A tier. Let's put it a high,
Hell yeah.
high B tier. And let's just keep this really close so we can keep I think this keeps the spirit better. All right, Battlefield. Let's go. Where's Josh Burry? Where's the
right.
homie? Where's the lad?
I-
Let's go.
May I?
Oh, please.
I was that Battlefield kid.
You were
like,
that.
I was
were
that
you
kid
that?
who
Were you
was-
that guy? Were you that guy?
I was the one that was like
No.
commenting in like the epic rap battle, being like, "Yeah, Battlefield won this one." Like
Come
I
on.
was obsessed with Battlefield. Like Battlefield 2 was like one of like my biggest like computer games. Obviously recently things have been not fantastic for the series as a whole. But I think leading up to it, they were releasing like banger after banger for the most part, but there's so many things you need to take into context of why it's not going to be a very high rated game. Obviously right now the game 2042, you can have fun with it, but it's not a great game. It's very much kind of a bad game. 4, although it turned out to be like one of the best Battlefield games, the launch was like probably one of the worst launches I've seen in gaming history. I will say though, and obviously we're going to get it into the future, and I know people in the comments are going to agree with me because they need to. Battlefield 1 as a game is better than any Call of Duty that's ever existed. And I enjoy Call of Duty now. I have turned around on Call of Duty, and I now think it is a better series than Battlefield. There is nothing like, there is no game that's better. Like no Call of Duty is better than Battlefield 1. And like obviously we're not talking about like Battlefield 2 because that's just like a whole different era of PC gaming. But in like this modern era, it's Battlefield 1 is one of the most satisfying games. And this is like a mini tangent, and I apologize. They fucking had it. Like DICE and EA had it with Battlefield 1. They're like, holy shit, we did it. The game was satisfying. It felt like you were playing like a movie. Like there were so many set pieces and all this stuff. And then they just fucking like, it's like, oh, we've actually deleted the files on how we did that.
Battlefield 3.
I agree with that, but
Battlefield 3 also fantastic. I love Battlefield
game.
3. I think Battlefield 3 is better than 4, and that's my spicy take. But
I agree actually, but that's also because of the order I played
hate
them.
Battlefield.
That's fair.
You hate Battlefield.
I cannot stand Battlefield.
Which have you played? Which ones have you played? Because that's a big question.
Battlefield 3.
3.
I've played Bad Company. Is that the one?
Oh fuck yeah! Shout out to Bad Company 2. Shout out to Bad Company 2.
You know what's so funny about Bad Company?
Goated game.
They literally don't know why the game is so good, why it was so successful. And like,
because it's EA. They just don't know what they're doing.
They're scared to like because everyone's like, just fucking remake the game, and they're scared to because they know they're gonna fuck it up. We don't get why people like this game so much.
By the way, shout out to this because someone in the chat asked. They have like all caps. There's competitive Battlefield. This right here.
Yes.
This is ESL 1 Spring 2015. Shout out my Siege homies in the chat will take note of that. Is in fact Nesk and Julio and Mav of Siege fame.
And I'm sure if they were to hear the audio, it's Pansy, right? Is the one casting it?
You know what? You want to? I can do you better, bro. I'm pretty sure it's Machine.
It's Machine. Machine and Pansy used to cast for these games. And there's actually also, if anyone was wondering, because these are these are 5v5s, I think. They did a 32 versus 32 at some like launch event, and it was on console, and they tried to treat it like an actual esports event. Obviously, like it wasn't like supposed to be taken too seriously, but it's like, yeah, why don't you take, like, why not? Why is there no competitive 32 versus 32? And it was just like the biggest clusterfuck. Like they didn't know who to focus the camera on.
That's the boy. You can see Siege lovers will notice the lad that is in fact Liquid Nesk. That's Julio right there. Yeah, they actually used to be competitive Battlefield players before they got into Rainbow Six. You'll notice this is also literally like December of 2015 is when the beta for Siege came out. So they were playing this right up until Siege launched. And Battlefield is so influential to the history and scope of casual PC gaming that it almost can't be overstated. It is the game that you played if you owned a PC and you played FPS and you want like it is a very casual game. I don't mean that in a bad way.
Battlefield. I won't lie.
Beef.
I got beef.
Bro.
When I tried playing Battlefield on PC as a kid, it would always crash. That's like I was
too intensive. There's too many pixels.
Yeah, I ran a hamster setup for a while and it just could not run Battlefield. I feel like that's where my beef with Battlefield stems.
Yeah.
I couldn't play it.
So here's the thing, guys. So this is a weird one because I think personally that Battlefield, like the significance of Battlefield from can I just put this down here? I can. The significance of Battlefield from a like casual standpoint of like, I'm like own a PC and I'm playing games, right? Like I'm a kid and play is like, it's like, again, almost can't be overstated. It's like very, very important. As an esport, the game is virtually non-existent and always has been. It's really like I think that our ranking of Battlefield on this list has to be tempered. Someone in chat literally said it. It is A tier and C tier at the same time. Laugh my ass off.
absolutely.
It actually
That
is. It
that
actually
is the biggest fact. Of
As
all
an
time.
esport, it 100%.
As an esport, it's D. It's literally
D-tier.
D.
It's literally
Yeah.
D tier. And I don't mean that as a knock against Battlefield. People are going to see this. They're going to think like, holy shit, they think Battlefield is so bad. It's not that. Can I change? I can't change the background on this. Maybe you guys can see it a little bit clearer than I can. But it's just like as an esport, man, it's just
It's
not
like E tier as an esport.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
everything here is basically like
Yeah,
almost everything here is better.
it-
If you
pains me.
can
They
run
could
it,
have
it's a
had
good
it.
game. If you can't, F tier.
I
They
do
could have
think
had it
Non-playable
with Battlefield 1 incursions, not to bring Battlefield 1 up again, but they tried. They're like, we're going to do it.
I
And
think
then it never got out of beta.
I think that there are other games here that have had equally awful esports scenes because of the time they came up or because of like, you know what I mean? Like I do think so like, but maybe C, but I think that's actually like sort of, we could put it here just because of how actually like deeply influential this franchise actually is. But I just don't know, man. I don't know. Like, how do we rank this? Do we rank this only as an esport, only as a game, or as some amalgamation of the two? Like, what's the play here? Is it a low B tier because
That's
we
what I
tried
think.
to
I think
unite A and C?
I think
Yeah,
it
I
has
think
similar
it's-
vibes to Fortnite.
Yeah, I think it's the lowest B tier on the list right now, just because, like you said, like if we're going to be giving respect to games for what they've been able to accomplish, then we need to like.
You're
I
right,
think we have
yeah.
to do both.
Because someone just said in the chat, rank them as esports, which sounds easier than it is, right? Because think about it, like if we only ranked Quake as an esport, would it still be S tier? Probably
Yeah,
not.
no,
Probably
absolutely
not.
not,
It
yeah.
might be A tier, but not S tier. But as a game, like as a shooter, undeniably S tier. So I think that low B tier is probably a good place to put it. I have always had a soft spot for Battlefield. I love Battlefield. You know, for me, guys, just for context, I don't play BRs. I never have. I probably never will. Battlefield is my Warzone. Battlefield is the thing that when it comes out every couple of years, I go and buy it and download it, and I fuck around in Battlefield when I'm like when I have a headache and don't feel like sweating in Counter-Strike or something. Like I'll go play BR or Battlefield rather, BF. I think this is a good place to keep it. I think this is sort of a Is it better than Fortnite?
I think so.
I disagree. Hard disagree.
I know, but you like
I
we're coming
can't
from
play it. That's true.
they were coming from the same point because like you loved Fortnite, but like even when I played Fortnite, like I respect it as a game, but like even when I played it when it was like Save the World and it first turned to BR, like I was just like this game's kind of just ass.
I kind of agree.
Like I respect
actually.
the hell out of it. I just don't like Fortnite.
I kind of agree, actually. I think longevity beats it out too, Magoo. You have to keep in mind that Battlefield
Okay,
is
2 versus 1. We'll keep it. We'll keep it at that.
You have to keep in mind that there is a sort
it's
of
better at Fortnite. You guys win.
there's a sort of historical reverence here that has to be taken into account, right?
Don't worry, there
Yeah.
is at least 2 games that I'm looking at that will be definitely lower on the list.
Okay. All right. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. COD 4, Modern Warfare, the original. Let's fucking go. We gotta open with this, baby. We gotta go up. We gotta open with the eye blackouts XX fucking montage. Take me back to 2009, dog. Take me back. This shit right here, put it right in my veins. I love this shit. I love this shit. Not Tylenol. Don't put Tylenol in my veins. Don't do that. Yeah, this is MW. This is let's go, baby. This absolutely goated era of frag movie quick scoping montages from what is undeniably the greatest Call of Duty ever made. It's not even a conversation. But let's have it.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to have a conversation.
I saw the conversation like cuz like this was like
You guys may have been a little young for this. This is where our age gap is going to hit, right? This is where the age gap is going to hit.
I played like a lot of this game, but like this was still during the era where like this was like one of the last games where I was still sharing like the console with my brothers.
Yeah.
So like a lot of it was me watching them. I still played fucking hours and hours of this game and stayed up very late playing it. But like a lot of it was me spent watching them, and I was actually like a weirdo because I actually enjoyed watching my brothers play the games because they were better than me.
IRL live streaming.
IRL, IRL Let's Plays.
Yeah.
But I saw recently some discourse that people are saying that this game is not as good as people remember.
It's not true.
I feel like
Which
it's
I don't-
really
it's not true.
nostalgia driven.
No. Okay, no. I can't fucking stand even for 2 seconds. So
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
no,
explain
listen,
to you.
I'm not saying I agree with it.
I'm
not
gonna
saying I agree
explain
with
to
it.
you
Dimitri's gonna
factually
nostalgia pill
why
us.
I'm gonna explain to you factually why this is not the case. So here's the thing, and we can actually do it because they are actually one after the other. It works out. They are, or not one after the other. I will put them one after the other. Let's just put them one after the other. So the thing about this game, about COD 4, that separates it from this is the game. This is the game that literally invented modern shooting mechanics as we know them. There was no such thing as a sprint function before this video came out. Before this game came out. This game is not only the best Call of Duty because of how it truly revolutionized the genre. And like revolutionized is like the word here. I don't mean that in sort of the pithy colloquial sense that we always say, like Valorant's revolutionary. Like, no. This game was revolutionary. This game turned COD 2, which was running around walking with like M1 Garands and like bolt action, like headshot, into a actual modern military shooter with attachments, with sprinting, with the kill streak. Like, this game was a stroke of genius. It was a literal masterpiece. It also, other than, as some people are saying in the chat, like Juggernaut and Stopping Power, yes, aside from a handful of perks, it was very balanced. It was genuinely a really balanced game, all things considered, and it's what separates it from MW2, which we're going to talk about.
Birth to, like, obviously, like MW2, like it caused these things to blow up, but it also, like, culturally and like in the YouTube sphere, it changed everything.
Yes.
Like
Yeah. So this is why I took this.
Back in the day.
Yeah, like
yes.
Like it 1.6 sort of like gave birth, not necessarily gave birth, but really like with deagle montages and stuff like that, like kind of like breathed. Anyway, got some life into the sort of like frag movie content creator kind of thing. But like this really like we're watching it right now. Like there's an endless, like hours upon hours, like thousands and thousands of hours of just like mindless content like this, and all of it is just art.
I also think this was our generation's gateway drug into gaming.
It absolutely was. I picked a better quality montage.
The way that Fortnite is for the big zoomers.
Yeah,
that was this game.
Modern Warfare 1 is that.
This game was very,
Fortnite.
very, 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 very good. It was very good, and it was good in a way that, like, this is the thing you have to understand. It's not just like, oh, bro, if you think this game's better than Black Ops 2, like, you're fucking high, bro. You're not listening. The difference between COD 2 and COD 3 and Modern Warfare, like the difference between COD 3 and Modern Warfare is literally the difference between CS 1.6 and CSGO. Like, the advancement that Infinity Ward made with this iteration of the genre has never been repeated. It was so crazy how they just transformed Call of Duty overnight into an entirely different video game. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, it's the goated COD, and it's like not even a conversation. And in fact, every time I've had this conversation with some coworkers in our office, and it's gotten pretty heated because all of these guys are like 22 and 23 and they never played Modern Warfare, and they started with Black Ops, which we'll fucking get to, and they never really played the game, and so they just don't really have the perspective on it. But was it a perfect video game? No, but no video game is perfect, right? But it started
it's the thing
everything.
That started it all.
It started everything, bro. It started everything. All this FaZe Clan, quick scoping, like literally, it really hit a fever pitch with Modern Warfare 2, which we'll talk about in a second. But
someone in the comments said they can hear Linkin Park.
Oh,
just from this, like,
seeing
this video on the screen.
Yes, absolutely, bro.
It's
absolutely.
that iconic.
It's that fucking iconic. Yes,
CS 1.6 was remember the name, and this game was crawling in my skin.
Absolutely, bro. Let the bodies hit the floor. Yes. No, this is goated. Okay, there's, in my opinion, it's A tier. Like, it's A tier, and we just have to decide sort of what fits around it. Modern Warfare 2. Did you guys play Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah, this was the game that sort of became like I kind of like, they take up the same space in my mind. Modern Warfare, like COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 was the one where like my brothers started like PC gaming more and like, you know, playing League of Legends and stuff like that, and like moved on. And like, so Modern Warfare 2 was like the first kind of like game that I got to like just play with like friends. And I think it was like when I was in grade 8, I think it came out. It was the first time where like I was doing Xbox like parties with like friends and stuff like that, and like actually ripping games until like, you know, 2 in the morning with people. I do think that COD 4 is a better game,
Yeah.
but Modern Warfare 2 just like that's like the first game that really brought like the sort of like online gaming
I
to
think
me.
Modern Warfare 2 is more nostalgic for Devin and I because it's the first game where every kid could play it. Like
Yeah.
their parents were chill about playing it. Like you'd have to have like really chill parents for you to be able to play Modern Warfare 1. Shout out to my parents that let me play when I was way too young to play
My
it.
parents did not give a fuck.
Yeah,
about
they
any of
did
that. I don't know
not
why.
care.
They just never cared.
They're just like, oh, whatever. It's a game. Who cares?
So this shout out
right?
to this montage, which you guys can see. This is the OG. I can't play the music because we're on YouTube, but man,
Unlucky.
if what I would give to play the music on this, because this is 13 years ago, 6.3 million views, the original OG run of optic quick scoping, 420, 69 no scope montages. This is the OG shit. I had the distinction of playing against Hex in Modern Warfare 2, and when I tell you that I have never been dumpstered harder by a gamer than I was dumpstered by this guy, man, I'm telling you. Like, the only thing that even compares is sometimes when I queue into a deathmatch server in CSGO and Twists is in the server, and he just fucking shits on me. That is the only thing that compares. When I played against Hex, man, I was really good at MW, and I got absolutely pummeled by this guy. Anyway, shout out to this montage because this is OG shit. Modern Warfare 2, I want an anecdote for you guys. I went to XO9 when it was in Toronto in 2009. That was the Xbox Unveil event where like you got invited, you got to see all the games early. It was like a press event they did. And this was before MW2 came out. And the game, they couldn't even advertise it at the event. They literally had a curtain with a blackout room, and there was just this like this person with a clipboard outside, and she would, if you walked by, she would just sort of like, and you kind of like asked like, hey, what's in there, she would literally be like, we're doing our next viewing in 15 minutes, like, if you want to stick around. Like, okay. And I stuck around. I was like, what? And then they sneak you into this back room, and Activision and Infinity Ward were there
sick.
with Modern Warfare 2. This game was the second coming of Christ. Like, because MW was so big, it was so earth, but when this game was getting ready to come out, it was literally as if like it would be on par with like if Valve announced the new Counter-Strike tomorrow.
They
it
had
was
such
crazy.
a good run there because it was Modern Warfare, then World at War that introduced zombies, which was like a secret game mode.
It was sick,
iconic in its own right, and then Modern Warfare 2. Like that's historic.
It is.
Do you guys think that
games.
Modern Warfare 2, I know some of them are like shared between the games. Do you think Modern Warfare 2 had the better maps?
So here's the thing. Modern Warfare 2 is a very, very, very good video game. I think that the maps are arguably better. I think that the customization was better. The thing about MW2 that in my opinion faults it is, and we can take like even, actually I'm really not a fan of FaZe Clan, and I'm really not a fucking fan of this era of FaZe Clan, but because I had interactions with some of these guys, and it was just really like, ugh. But these OG, like these FaZe Pomage, like OG, like montage really just show you how the best and the worst of Modern Warfare 2, which is one, what an outrageously sick game it was, two, how fucking imbalanced it was.
Yeah.
The thing about
it was
MW2,
ridiculous.
they went too far up their own ass, man. And I mean this in the best way.
Yeah.
I mean this in the best way possible. The game was so fun. I was playing this game competitively and actually went back to MW1 because of how imbalanced this game was.
Well, you could only use like 3 guns.
Yes. It was too much. These montages are very sick. They're very cool. They harken back to an era that is like, I am very nostalgic for this era. But like the game as a game, pound for pound, I think MW, like if someone ever challenged me to a 1v1 in COD, like today, I would still say we do it in MW, not MW2. Because I think MW2 still just is not... the game was like sort of comically imbalanced in a way that we all agreed was sick.
Rust is the final battleground.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Rust was sick. The maps in MW2 are sick. But my instinct is to put it... My instinct is this. But I'm curious how you guys feel.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're very nostalgia pilled right now, and I want that to be said, but nostalgia is the catalyst for us to become gamers.
In what sense? No. In what sense do you think it is? Because it's important.
I think these two games. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dimitri, but these are the games that got me introduced to gaming.
Yes. And I think, just to be clear, just in case this is what you're getting at, these games, these two, are absolutely above every game in these B tier. And I don't just mean that because I like them better or because I grew up on them. Like Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, like, didn't just birth, like, console competitive, like, shooter gaming, getting kids. It, like, nuclear fucking reactored it. Like, it actually shot it to the heavens in the matter of 1 year. Like, it did for console what Counter-Strike did for PC. Like, it was a very, very big deal.
I don't think you can say, like, honestly, that Valorant, a game that's like 2.5 years old, is better than either of those Call of Duties.
I would laugh at someone who said that.
Yeah. Like,
there's no way.
Like this will come up again. Like I said, I was a huge Battlefield fan, and even I will admit that, like, these games were, like, culturally more important.
They're culturally
Battlefield existed as, like, the little brother that was like, no, I'm a little bit more hardcore and I like my game with vehicles, which was, like I said, literally me. But it's like it's no contest. I don't think, even if I can admit that I don't like the games.
Yeah, I think that they culturally, historically, they are so deeply important to the history of shooters that I just don't think. I just don't see any of those 4 games below. There are A tiers that will, for sure, and S tiers that will go above them, for sure. But I don't think that there's anything on this list thus far below that competes. I just don't think it's possible. Yeah. All right. We got 2 more CODs. Let's do it. All right. Which one is this one? Is this the first one? I actually can't see because of how this has been cut off.
You can just call it the first one.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
funny,
the first one. Yeah.
Okay, let's say it's Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 for those who can't see it.
I feel like
let's do Black Ops.
There's a lot of people in the comments right now saying, like, "Oh, we're doing so many CODs and so many Halos. Should we lump them all together?"
We only have one Halo.
There's only one Halo.
There's only one Halo. There's only one.
No,
Halo.
I'm saying we have so many CODs and only one Halo.
Oh, it's just because I mean you can, like, for what it's worth, like, COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2 were kind of lumped together.
Yeah.
Like, really, we talked about it we talked about it a lot, but, like, it's more just because, like,
I want to just also say the reason that I put one Halo is because I know people debate Halo 1 versus Halo 3, and, like, I don't get me wrong, I understand that. The reason I separated the CODs is not because I hold COD in higher esteem than Halo. It's because a lot of the time I hold COD in lower esteem. And there are some CODs that are just, like, not.
Some of them are so bricked that you need, like,
you need to specify which CODs. I take Halo as a collective franchise because I recognize the overall significance of Halo. Like, I want to talk about it as a thing.
Yeah.
I think that when you're talking about Call of Duty, it's just not that simple. Like, you have to sort of, Let's say the first one is Black Ops 1. Let's say it's Black Ops 1, and let's just put it in D tier. And then we can talk about...
we're all COD.
Oh, no.
Let's talk about why... And I found the perfect video that illustrates exactly what I'm talking about. So I was a competitive player for MW and MW2. I waited for Black Ops to come out. And when it came out, I was genuinely stunned how bad it was. I literally couldn't wrap my head around how fucking bad this game was. Especially because I was one of these super cringe 69 like quickscope kids, like 420 69 no scopers. And so when I started playing this game,
and also
this is a perfect explanation of what it is I'm talking about.
So earlier into this game's life cycle, it was way worse than this. Like launch sniping was horrible. You have to look up like pre-patch launch sniping on Black Ops 1 or some shit like that. I actually think iReaps actually had a montage that was pre-patch, and the majority of the clips are literally just straight up hard scoping their ass off. Because what would happen is this whole thing where it was like moving around and shit as soon as you ADS, it also moved around a lot more. And even if you did manage to catch the sway on top of somebody, like where you got really good at just being able to predict where the thing is going to sway at or something, the bullet will never actually go straight. It was as if you were still basically trying to no-scope even though you were in the scope for, I think it was like 2 full seconds. 2 full seconds.
This game, this COD, wins the award for making me never purchase a Call of Duty ever again. I literally went and started playing 1.6 again, and then started playing Dota, and never fucking came back to Call of Duty. Black Ops at launch, for those who don't know, and there's probably some who don't know, because this was actually like in 2011 this game came out, right? They took sniping out of the game. For all intents and purposes, they thought that like quick scoping was bad for the overall health of MW, despite the fact that it literally put the game on the map. And they basically just thought we have to nerf it out of the game. Now they later went back on this. 2010, people in chat are correcting me. Yeah, sorry, 2010 it came out. They had to basically revert the change to some degree. It never really got better, and the game was basically destroyed. But this game is very, very, very bad. It was extremely bad. It just like everything top to bottom about this did not feel polished. It did not feel clean. Didn't feel crispy. Quick scoping aside, it felt like they went steps backwards from MW2, which makes sense because Treyarch made this game and not Infinity Ward. And every conversation that I've had with coworkers in our office, it is always some 22-year-old who's trying to convince me that Black Ops is God's gift to Call of Duty, and when it is in fact the worst game made in recent memory. I mean, I can't speak to like Advanced Warfare or whatever because I was way off the genre or the franchise by that point. But
yeah, like those ones are kind of just all a wash in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm gonna argue with you for a second.
Argue with me all you want, champ.
I agree with you. It's not polished. I think removing snipers from the game was a good idea because I think it was just too crazy in Modern Warfare 2. Like, there was a time where like you could only use a sniper, right? I think it was an interesting meta change for it to just be like, nah, snipers suck in this one.
Cool though.
Yeah. I put up a clip of the ballistic knives. Have you ever used that in Black Ops 1?
Oh yeah.
Only the ballistic knives? That was so satisfying.
So broken, dude. I remember this shit.
It was so broken. I used to play game battles where I would only use the ballistic knives and people would get so mad. Like, I would just be running around with my ballistic knives, like boom, boom, boom.
It was so cringe,
and then the tomahawk, you go. I was that cringe guy. I
hated it. I mean, it was cool. It was cool.
It
was fun,
basically gave you Commando Pro in a game that didn't have Commando.
I know. It was so dumb.
Look at that.
Look, man.
Look how mad these people are.
Look at him malding. Actually,
they're actually malding. This is me. This is actually my old
you?
clip. Yeah, this is me when I was 11 years old.
I love this.
I'm just doing some self promo. If you guys want to catch my montages, you can look me up on YouTube. Magoo ballistic
Chad
knives,
is just
XX.
absolutely shitting on Magoo right now for this take. Not for the ballistic knife take, for the like taking snipers out of the game. Black Ops 1, man, was
shit on me
a
all you
dumpster
want.
fire. The game was a dumpster
I'm just
fire.
saying the truth.
All right, Devin, go ahead.
I'm not the 22-year-old that you speak of, but next to World at War, this is my favorite Call of Duty. Might I add, Call of Duty wasn't my favorite game growing up, so maybe that's why. This is also like around the time that me and my best friend were just like playing a lot of this game. So like I said, a lot of it comes to nostalgia like that. Also, I love Cold War settings. I just think like the weaponry is just more interesting to me. And then this was kind of like the last game that did it for quite a while, I guess, before they went into down their sort of the route with, going beyond Modern Warfare and into sort of more futuristic settings. And that's like, this was the last Call of Duty I played until the recent era of Call of Duty. So that is now when I got back into it.
So the reason I have this here, we have Black Ops 2 on the list. I have never played Black Ops 2, but from what I understand, Black Ops 2 is widely celebrated to be, one of the best CODs, certainly from an esports standpoint. Like, I believe, I'm not crazy, right? Black Ops 2 is sort of like the Black Ops with with the nade shot optic and like the phase rivalry, right? Like, I'm not crazy. Like, that's like the era of Black Ops that, or are you guys sort of with me where like you never really played this game?
I played it, but I just didn't like it.
Yeah, it tapered off for me.
Okay.
This was around the era that I just stopped caring about Call of Duty. And I don't really know why. Like, it was a long time ago, obviously, but I don't know what it was. But like, I have also heard that like people just thought it was like the greatest Call of Duty of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly fine with like that opinion.
I mean, maybe we're just not qualified to rank this game. It's possible, right? Like, it's possible that we just don't. I put it here because I assume
we have to remove something from the list. Like, I played it. I just like literally can't like. The only thing that comes to my mind is like this one SMG that was really good. That's like the only thing and I think that like the.
It's just not really memorable to me. I don't know.
I just feel like everyone says all the time that this is like the best one. This is like the COD esport era that like put COD esports on the map. Scump and Nade Shot back in 2013. Like, we see Golden
Colton
Boy.
is saying that Black Ops 2 is the best COD competitive.
That's what I've
Which
been
I
always
agree.
told.
I've
That's
heard,
always
I've
been
heard
told.
that it was
yeah.
like really balanced.
And it's not even close,
and-
he says. Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is
I
like
can agree with
MW,
that.
the MWs, but I would still say MW1. I think they're the best competitively in terms of the game. The esports scene, because this was like literally 2007, 2008, right? Did not exist. There was no way to house it, right? Do I think that like as games, pound for pound, they would have engendered a better competitive scene? Probably, but that doesn't mean that they did. They obviously didn't, right? Like I think Colton like. This is what I'm saying. This is Colton's take. Like what he's giving us right here is sort of the opinion that I have always heard about this game, right? Which is that like COD, like Black Ops 2 is like the heyday of competitive COD, and that the game was the best for that reason.
Can we do something crazy?
What can we do?
Can we let chat decide?
That's what they're
You know what I
saying,
want
that's
to
what they
do? I want Shat and Colton. Colton is technically an employee member of the Score Esports.
Yeah.
He has as much say in this list as we do.
We'll give it up.
Technically.
He technically works
Technically.
here.
So,
He's a
Colton,
very
where does it go?
technical guy,
Where does
so
it
he
go,
does
Colton?
technically work here.
Chat is our turn.
Yeah, I remember I'm looking at it now. I just fucking hated the guns in this game. I don't know why. Like they just all felt the
I
same.
never played it. Literally never even played a single second of it. I didn't even buy it.
And maybe that's why it was balanced,
tier?
because like everything was super
B.
B.
Couple of S's, but the most I'm seeing is B. B far outweighs B. I mean, I think that sounds good to me. I think culturally, there is no question. Since the others are A, this has to be an A. Interesting. Culturally, from a casual standpoint, these are definitely more important. And I'm not talking competitively. I'm just talking about, like, culturally. But that obviously does not mean that it can't...
Oh, they're saying A now.
Listen, to make an omelet, you got to piss some people off.
You do. You got to break a few eggs. You do.
I think
Low
we either
A.
don't rate it or we throw it in B.
You don't want to put it A, eh? You think B?
Because if it was so impactful, wouldn't we like the rest of the games here that are on the list? I can have an opinion about. Like I have an opinion about every single one of these games that's left on the list, and like clearly this one just wasn't.
We're completely ignoring Call of Duty's flop era too.
Oh yeah, we don't talk about the flop era.
What if we just lump Call of Duty into one massive franchise?
We could, yeah.
I'm pushing for that.
All
If we
right.
were, then-
What would
then-
happen if we lump it in? All the good, all the mid, all the bad.
I'd
Where
still
would
say
that
it's an A, just because like
Ah.
their flop era was also the era where I stopped playing console games,
Yeah.
like basically altogether. And like now that it's like more of a game on PC, like I'm playing again.
I'm comfortable putting it here in terms of putting it with the. I'm gonna rank these two above because I can't, in good conscience, do this because I personally.
It's
I
also
can't.
our opinions.
It's also our opinions, and I just can't. Like, I think I refuse to believe that I understand competitively was the peak, but like the cultural impact of Modern Warfare the original is like, again, it's on par with like 1.6. Like, you just can't be overstated. So I think. It's so hard, man. It's so hard.
The chat saying lumping them all together is low A. Colton says it's B tier.
Then it's a B.
I think Call of Duty lumped all together is either very high B tier, like the highest B tier
Yeah.
we have,
or low A.
or a very low A.
Dude, I don't know. This is so tough. Maybe we shouldn't rank it. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't rank it. Maybe we shouldn't
don't
rank
have
it.
to.
We don't have to rank it.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Because, chat, I don't
Eat
want to
it.
piss people off. I don't want to put it in B if people are going to think
You
it's
know
A.
what?
Like, I don't have an
As-
opinion about this game.
As good journalists with integrity, and just humans in general and gamers in general with integrity, let's not rate it.
Let's not rate it. I'm fine with that. I'm genuinely fine with that. Black Ops is a D fucking tier game. No question. Absolutely not. I will
Okay,
die
that
on
hurts
that
me,
hill.
but I
I will die on that fucking hill. But Black Ops 2, I have no
I think it might be
opinions on.
C. I don't
No.
know.
But what about
No,
the suppressed
absolutely
Galil?
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
That was a
Absolutely.
good
Yeah,
Yeah, what about the
That was
fucking
a good
remote
one.
control car that
I
you
have
could
dreams-
fucking...
Yeah, that was
I
fun.
had dreams about the suppressed Galil. I was like, it was
Oh
just
my
like,
god,
it was
I
like
hate
butter,
you
it
both
was
so
slicing
much
through
right
hot
now.
butter.
I hate you both so much right now. I'm fucking... this is me and Brian all over again. I'm so tilted right now. God, I'm so tilted. Shout out to Brian for
And
fucking
Zombies.
getting me there.
Zombies was a good
Zombies
time.
is the
Zombies is fun.
only thing. It is the only
That was-
thing that Black Ops did that was actually novel and interesting. It was the only thing. Everything else was a worse version of what had come before. Everyone's saying for us to rank it. No, you have to rate it. They're saying we have to rate it. Even Colton
Okay,
wants us
well,
to
we'll
rate
All
it.
put
right,
it
throw
low
it back
B.
in beer then.
In B tier?
Yeah, it's a
B
low
tier.
B. It's a low B.
A low B tier.
Low B.
A low B tier. I mean, I'm fine with this.
You're
I'm
forcing our
genuinely
hands.
fine
It's
with this.
it's the middest Call of Duty.
It's the
It's
middest
so
Call of
mid,
Duty.
bro. It sucks,
It's
guys. You guys actually
so
don't even
Yeah,
know
you
the
guys
game.
don't know what you're
It's
talking
so
about. Who
mid.
cares about
you guys
competitive
even
games?
play
All right,
it?
let's put it above Fortnite because I feel like people are gonna get really fucking mad if we put it below Fortnite.
Nah, it's below Fortnite. Let's piss some people off. We're already pissing them off by putting it in B.
All right. We're putting it below Fortnite. All right. I want to be clear, chat. I have no fucking opinions on this game. I just want to be clear. I have no opinions. All right, let's move on. All right. Fuck, is it time?
It's time.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
All right. Is it time? Okay. All right. Time for
The
Counter-Strike
D tier game.
Global Offensive. Yeah, easy D tier. Worse than Black Ops 1. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is a very good video game. It is the most recent Counter-Strike iteration. It is basically the true successor to 1.6. So it was almost 20 years in the making. It is undeniably S tier, for sure. There's just the nice thing about this one is like I don't really have to explain why this is the case. Like it's just like a factual case. It's not just a question of what like it's not a question of just like the game being fun or not fun. There are plenty of things I hate about CS:GO, which we're going to talk about. But like as an esport, it is just clearly like an S tier shooter. Like there's just not if CS:GO is not an S tier esport, then like no esport is S tier, right? So no, Colton's saying 3-hour monologue. We really don't need one. We really don't need one.
Yeah.
This is clearly S tier. It's here. It's that's where it is.
One thing I was thinking about CS:GO that I love so much is that skins have wear. I think that is the most novel thing ever.
It is very novel. The CS:GO skins are so ahead of their time, and continue in some ways to be very ahead of their time. I want to get to this point later. But
Okay.
but this idea of like what CS:GO became, like what it has become, we hit the highest concurrent player count for this game in 2020.
Yeah.
Like almost, whatever it was, 8 years after it came out, right? And it is the game actually struggled and floundered for a really long time, and only now is it starting to get really, really, really big. It's sort of interesting to see how the game had, like how much bigger skins have gotten, how much bigger CS:GO has gotten, how much bigger yet it could get. Those are really cool. It's just sort of a larger point to your wear thing, right? People are looking at CS:GO in 2022, 10 years after it came out, and being like, there's some pretty novel shit here that like no one else has done in 10 years, right? Yeah, it's obviously S tier. Let's just move on. Because I do want to say some other things about CS:GO, but we're going to get to that later. So
It's gonna be a good
Yeah,
track.
the
coming
only
up.
the only thing that I wanted to say about
please,
CS:GO
Devin.
is just like obviously it's like my favorite first person shooter, like more hours in it than any other game. Even played it when it was on console because why the fuck not? And this is kind of something that I brought up before about the game being mathematical, and that's why I think it works more than any other game and why it's perfect in a lot of ways, at least perfect as an esport or perfect as a competitive shooter, is because everything that you do, as I already said, is deliberate and there's no randomization for the most part, unless there's like a bug or something, obviously. But everything is so deliberate and to a T that it's when you watch high tier CS or you get something that or even you yourself gets to a play where you're like, you're playing well, or you get to a level you're playing well, you're opping well. It's like art. It's like, brush strokes. You're everything is working as intended and everything's going to the plan. And when you watch two of the greatest teams face each other, it's like who is doing that better, and then who is finding a way to do things differently. Because it's a game that is so, has lineups. So if you jump and throw this smoke at this exact point, it's going to land in the same fucking place every single time.
I think it is.
It's like, so like, what do you?
Dialed in, and
Yeah.
the perfect mix of strategy and mechanics.
Yeah, every time you shoot the gun, it's going to do the exact same spray pattern, obviously as long as you're not moving, but it's the same spray pattern. So it comes down to, you need to get to that point where like your spray pattern is the best. That's not even like a question. Like your aim needs to be better than someone, and then once you get to that, what are you going to do differently?
I
Okay,
have this
now
clip.
how are you going to find a new way to get an edge above your opponent?
I arbitrarily picked this, but this is the one that I picked here because it just can't. It was top of mind. This Modesty clutch.
How much does Modesty
Mercado.
dedicate his life to this bomb site? Modesty on catwalk finds the timing. 8 seconds. If he can drop the bomb, it'd be everything. But it travels into the site. 1-on-2 for Modesty now. It's sacrificial. Gives his position away. He wants Modesty's aim gone. But this man. Oh, this
That
shot
right there.
takes down the goat, and he takes simple.
21 seconds is all you need to
Oh
watch
my
to
God.
know why it is that CSGO
Yeah.
is what it is, why it's the S tier game, why it's the S tier shooter, S tier esport. I mean, obviously, it's really, there's not much to say. I just wanted to show something because we showed something.
And
from those other
speaking
games.
speaking of that, just jumping off that, like I think it's so interesting that CS as a franchise has been here for so long, and people are still finding new ways to play the game. Like
yes.
Modesty with
Yes.
his smokes and everything. I
Yeah.
think that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's
It's so deep. That's
yeah,
how
one-
deep
one
of-
CS:GO is.
One of my favorite examples, and it was like a little while ago, but when NAF jumped over the op scope, it was I think
Yep.
it was like literally on arches.
Yep.
And he
Yep.
did a boost
Yeah, I remember.
at the blocks,
Yeah.
and literally just jumped over because like, yeah, I knew he was going to be scoped in, and that like I would be in the blacks of the side picture, so he wouldn't be able to see it. I'm
CS:GO
like, that's
clearly.
that's nuts.
Yeah, it has become the S tier shooter. There's no question. I don't think it's a hot take. We honestly can move on. It's really
Yeah,
just
I'm
that's
good
it.
with that.
CS:GO is clearly the S tier shooter. Source. Let's talk
Baby,
about,
I love Source.
Let's talk about
Baby, I
Source.
love
You love Source?
Oh yeah,
guys.
but Source for a different reason.
All right,
as a
so-
competitive game,
So
it's doesn't exist.
no, it did.
like
Oh no,
Battlefield.
no,
it exists,
It
but
did.
like
It
but, like,
did.
me
It 100%
personally,
did.
it didn't exist. It existed in France, and that's basically it.
It's true that the Frenchies really liked it. I'm actually gonna. I just forgot that. I realized I forgot to pull up the. I forgot to pull up the actual clip I wanted to run for this. Source. So here's the thing about Source. A lot of you may be too young to have played Source. Nightmares. Somebody just said. Clearly, he's not too young. Yeah, the French were the best Source players. Foon. I'm not gonna run Foon, guys. I know Foon is Source,
can't.
but I'm not gonna run Foon. It's just it's there's more important things to discuss.
The horse is now glue at this point.
These are sort of the, just to give people an idea of how Source looked and felt compared to CSGO and compared to 1.6. Thing about Source is it's a very, very, very bad game. They really lost. RPK, widely considered to be the greatest sorcerer of all time. I think he is. I think most people think he is. It is a game where they lost the vision of what made Counter-Strike, like what made 1.6 so special. The thing about Source that was so bad is that you could run and gun. Like, people meme about like run and gun in Valorant, but like, y'all, you don't know what fucking running and gunning is, man, until you've played Source. Source was a meme. It was such a bad.
You'd
video
kill
game.
people you weren't even fucking aiming at.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
Like, when
Like-
it's so funny when you watch like the highlights because you're like, were they even looking at the person that they just killed? Like,
Yeah.
it just looks so jank.
I asked RPK when I interviewed him, I was like, you were really good at Source, like obviously widely considered to be the GOAT, you know, like what do you think one of the reasons that like you were so good in Source and then sort of like with CSGO, like, you know, you guys were great on very games, but like, you know, took some time to establish yourselves, and he literally just laughed. He was like, I mean, Source was just fucking easy as shit. He's like, it was just so easy. Like the game was, compared to CSGO even, like it was so simplistic. Like, yeah, Source is a game that is fun to play for the memes, and if you came up on Source, it's the game that you sort of learned Counter-Strike in, right? And so
Yeah.
I was not a Sourcer. I played very little Source because I really didn't like it. I played more Condition fucking Zero than I played Source, man. I really did not like this game. But it's fun for the memes. It's really bad, and it is a game where Valve really screwed themselves by just losing. They lost the thread, as the expression goes, right? They made a game that just clearly, sort of like we were talking about with the original Black Ops earlier, they sort of lost track of what made people love the original to begin with, and people really, really disavowed this game as a result.
Yeah, so I'll just add that like this is like I loved Source, but for a very different reason. Like I played a lot of 1.6, which obviously we'll get to, like, but I played more, arguably, Source, but I didn't consider it a competitive game. Like this was like before I was even like, because when I was playing even 1.6, and we'll get to it obviously, but I was on like FY maps and stuff. Like I was really young, played the shit out of the game, but like I didn't understand games competitively at that point. I was just a little bit too young, and this was still that era where like I didn't really understand it as being that. I thought it was just supposed to be fun, and this game was so much fucking fun.
It was.
Like,
It was
from,
really
like,
fun.
MG maps to like zombie maps to prison break
Yes.
maps to surfing, and I think that this is more like if you're going to like, we won't do that for the sake of this because it would, in my opinion, be an S tier game, but this game is more about Half-Life 2, the Half-Life 2 engine,
Yeah.
and what the Half-Life 2 engine did for gaming, because that's what it all has to do with, because it could have been any different you could put any different makeup on it.
Shout out
It
to
didn't
Rambo,
really-
by the way.
Pardon?
Shout out to Rambo. We have the
Oh, yeah,
VOD here
absolutely.
from shout out to Rambo.
Absolutely, and it just like it's like it's all about Half-Life 2 engine when I think about this game,
Yeah.
and like what it's able to do. And like another thing that isn't on this list, and maybe that's actually my fault, I probably should have added it, but like the Dave Defeat games, like two of my favorite games of all time, Source and the original. Probably played more of that than I did fucking 1.6. Like I just love that shit. But yeah, like this game was so good and for so many other reasons, but as a competitive game, like it wasn't a competitive
It felt so
game.
flat, and there's competition. There were esports. That's why I'm showing this.
No, there were. Yeah,
There
sorry.
were a lot-
So when I
for
say that,
those
I'm being.
Yeah, I'm not correcting you.
Yeah.
I'm saying that I know what you mean. Yeah, which is this. So hold up. If you were French, or if you were North American. If you were North
Yeah.
American, there's a very good chance that you came up on Source. Flom came up on Source. You can see Volcano, the legendary pro who eventually became the Valorant designer, right? Adren, Anger, AZK, tons of North American players came up on Source. Flom came up on Source, I think I said. And a lot of Frenchies came up on Source. Like all the Frenchies came up on Source. It's actually mostly the Swedes and like the Poles, the Swedes, the Russians, who came up on 1.6, and it split the community. Like someone in the chat just said, it split the community. You had your sorcerers who were considered to be scrubs, like noobs, and then you had the 1.6ers who were considered to be like the true, real elite, like chef's kiss Counter Strikers, right? It's a game that, although it had a competitive scene, it was not good, and the game itself was widely considered to, like I said, have really lost the thread on what made CSCS. Valve basically said, man, 1.6 was so hard and so outdated, and the game was just incredibly difficult to be good at. Why don't we just like make it easier? Why don't we just streamline Counter-Strike and make it like accessible for everybody? And they just made a fucking dog shit video game where you literally just ran around holding W and playing Call of Duty with Counter-Strike guns. And it was not good. It was really bad. So anyway, that's it. We can shit on Source more, but there's really no need to. Source is C tier, in my opinion.
That hurts me, but like I get why.
I think every game above it, I think every game in B tier is a better game
no,
than Source.
I
pound for
agree.
pound.
It
And
hurts me because of how much I played the game, but like for the context of what the list that we're making, which I think everyone also in the chat needs to understand, like the context of the list. I can concede that it is C tier.
It is a very fun game that I still play sometimes. I shouldn't say sometimes. I've played it like
I'm about to cry.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've played it, like from time to time for fun because it really is for the memes. It's a great meme map, but it does not hold. And it is a failed, like it is truly a failed design. That's what also separates it from so many of these other games, right? It's like I would still rank it above the original Black Ops because I do still think that it is not that bad, but it was bad. It was not. Yeah, they really made a misstep with this game, and
FPS Doug,
let's absolutely go. Shout out to FPS Doug. Yeah, that's it. Source is C tier. It's our only C tier game so far. All right, I gonna get some water. And
someone did comment. Apex is there and Battlefield is there. You just can't fucking see them because they're
invisible.
Yeah. Sorry guys, it's just the backgrounds. They're just it's black on black. Apologies.
No, it's not Dimitri's fault. It's tier list for not making better options.
Yeah, I can't change the color. Oh, I can. Hold on. Choose a label. How about this? Oh no, that's just this stupid thing. That's just this, right? I can't like make it Yeah, this just for this stupid
yeah.
thing here. I can't change the actual background photos, like colors. Sorry, guys. But yeah,
True.
Battlefield and Apex are here. Colton wants to get into the voice call. I think we should get Colton the
I'll
voice call.
allow it.
I can't.
but,
I
like,
can't.
Oh, for Halo, yeah, we can
Yes.
all just take a.
I gotta
take
get
our
some
break.
water. Let's get. I actually can't pull your cam, Colton, because it's just gonna take way too long. But I can absolutely get you in the voice call. Let's get the lad in here. You're actually free to hop in because we're in the waiting room. So why don't you jump in and tell us all where Halo should go? I hope he wasn't kidding.
Just waiting. Oh
There it
yeah.
is. There's the
That's
lad.
okay, no cam.
there it is. That's okay, no cam. All right, I gotta get some water. Colton, why don't you tell the fine folks what's what about Halo?
The guy who
Okay.
actually knows everything about Halo
About Halo
and everything else.
and everything else, yeah.
Hello, gentlemen. It's good to be here. I appreciate you dragging me in for my essential expertise on the topic
Your thesis.
of quite possibly the most important console game ever released. So, I guess we're just doing Halo as a whole instead of individual games. Which,
Yeah, the
You
reasoning
can
was
quickly break it down. 'Cause
you can break it down, but the reasoning is that like the only reason we did Call of Duties separately is because like so many of them were so fucked that like we kind of had to talk about like the golden era of COD. But like like Halo has been it's like such a rock
What?
of like of a franchise that
Well-
like it is kind of like to at least for the outside people that like grew up playing it but maybe not like competitively, we do see it
Sure.
as like a monolith, as like holy shit, that's
Sure.
Halo.
Yeah, as somebody who has lived through what could only be described as the dark ages of competitive Halo, I've seen some ups and downs.
Was that like from Reach onwards?
Yeah, like I joined the community like in earnest in competitive Halo during Reach, I guess right before Reach came out, and basically got to live through the downfall and like was at Halo 4 events with like 25 teams, like everybody was just like the whole community was like 150 people, like it was like terrible. The game was just bad. But yeah, like Halo as an idea, as a monolith, if that's what we're going to talk about it, is I would say it's like pretty hard to argue not one of the most important console games ever released. And I mean, I would talk strictly speaking about Bungie, is like realistically they invented what console FPS should be. Like they basically like came out with this early console shooter game when the game was originally not even supposed to be a console shooter, which is already impressive. And they were basically just like, hey, let's just like invent what this should be because we don't really have anybody like as a pillar to lean on. Created Halo 1 and it was just like they just did it right. Like they did it for the first time. Like it was just like, you know, console shooters were really not, they were not popular. They were not like a big thing, especially like on the development side. And they just nailed it. So they just kind of like invented what it should be and what it should look like and did it right from the get-go, which is like, in my mind, like that in and of itself, no matter how bad the games got eventually, that right there is like, it's hard to not put them in S tier. Halo 3 is like probably like one of the most like generationally impactful games of all time, especially if we're just looking at console. You know, Halo 4, Halo 5, Halo Infinite may have their issues. Me and 343 may have our issues. But I think just like as a monolith, like there's just like no more important console game, especially if we start looking at shooters.
Yeah.
Like it's really all. there
Yeah,
is to
so
it.
this is the thing, right? I have it grouped for the reasons that we mentioned. I won't go over them again. I think that the trade-off for that is the reason I group them is because I want to just treat Halo as an idea, like as you said it, right? I want to treat Halo for what it was at its best, because I think that by the time it was, I will just say that I think in fairness, Colton, by the time, and I know you're a competitive player who's really in the weeds, so it's different for you, but by the time Halo like really hit the dark ages, I'll be honest, I think that the like true like gold platinum age of Halo had already passed, to be honest. So like I think that
I would agree.
right, like Halo just wasn't ever gonna be, you know what I mean, like what Halo was around Halo 1 to 3, like that window of Halo 1 to 3 would never be repeated, right? Like after, you know, like ODST and post, right? Like obviously it's just never hit that point again. So like even if the games kind of were not great after that or they fell off, like it's sort of like who cares, because like when we think about Halo, we think about Halo in fucking 2002 right, or 2007, right? Like, so personally I think Halo has to either be very high A tier or low S tier, and I don't know where it goes. But I agree with you that it is the single most important console shooter ever made. And I don't think that's even really like sort of a contest. I think it's even more important than GoldenEye. Like I don't think it's just like Halo is, it is the shooter console GOAT for sure. But where's that put in
like
the
you
list?
can, you can really like you can almost track kind of the popularity of like gaming through Halo, because like when you see Halo start to dip at the end of that Halo 3 era, once Reach is released,
Yes,
that's really the era when people are really like in earnest switching over to like PC gaming as like a wide like popularized thing, and not this like niche like nerdy subculture thing. It's like, oh, like PC gaming is now just like the thing everybody does. Like you can really track it in that way. So it's not like, I don't think it's necessarily like a huge knock on Halo Reach, as like, oh, like it was a bad game and like that's why it was bad. It's like, no, I think like, sure, there were a lot of problems with it, but I think as a whole, like the gaming industry was just shifting, and Microsoft was like, well, we're just going to keep this property on console because it's literally the only thing selling our consoles for the next 3 generations.
I think that someone like Mock just put it well in chat, right? He said Halo is literally Quake for console, which like it definitely is fair to say, I think. I think a low S tier, I really feel like a low S tier is...
I'm fine with that. Yeah,
I'm fine with
like,
that.
I also like I don't know why I continue to do this, but like I always take in like so many other things into consideration, and then like to me, just what pops in my head is just like we used to do like Friday Night Forage, like me and my friends, and like that was just like so. It obviously had nothing to do with competitive. If anything, it was like the exact opposite of that. But like that was the whole other aspect of the game where like if we talk about Source, where like Source it had that sort of customization, that like crazy wacky game modes, but didn't have like the flush gameplay. Halo 3 had both. Like it had the flush gameplay, but also had this completely other sandbox experience that you can just like have fun with friends. And like for that, like I'll never, like the game will always be held in like such high regard for me.
It's along the lines of MW, the original MW, where it's just like what Halo did culturally. You have to, it's one of those franchises where you have to look beyond just the esports scene, and you have to, and with Quake, it was the same thing. You look beyond the esports scene and ask yourself, what did this game do to, like for video gaming at large? Like for the like millions upon millions of kids who played Halo 1 on the original Xbox, or Halo 2 on the original Xbox, or Halo 3 on the Xbox 360, right? And like it just like birthed gaming for so many people, and it birthed competitive gaming. Like sit the fuck down, noob, right? Like, you know, like get shit on. Like that was so like born with Halo, and like I just think that like low S tier is just like the only place that it can go. I really just feel like culturally the game is just so deeply important, especially in North America. Yeah,
just to give it like one last like esports tie for North America, like Halo is to North America esports what StarCraft is to South Korea. Like it really is. Like they're very different games, and like obviously like the cultures are very different around those games, but just in terms of like what it did for like what StarCraft did for South Korea in terms of just like popularizing esports and making like competition around these games visible to a wider audience. Like Halo was the first real like North American game televised competitively. Like it was just like it blew up outside of competitive gaming. It was huge in like the competitive gaming sphere, but it blew up in a way that no other game did in that time. Like around the end of Halo 1, beginning of Halo 2, like it just started to like explode in a way that only like regionally something like StarCraft did in South Korea. So like it just as like a pillar of esports, like obviously the cultural impact is like insane, but just as like an esport thing, which is already kind of a smaller community, There's not really that many games that sit on that kind of pedestal where it's like they were able to, like, in an early age of gaming, reach outside of this like smaller niche community, and people were like talking about MLG that like didn't play Halo seriously. They knew what MLG was. They had heard about it. They had seen some of these players, and like that's at the time that's insane. Like that's it was just like the early 2000s were just like wild. And that's my nostalgia pill a little bit, because that's like
You're
that's
allowed to
my,
be a
like,
little nostalgia pill.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
that's what we were doing with Modern Warfare. Yeah.
The fact that like Halo 2, the MLG scene existed, is probably the only reason I like care about esports at all. But yeah, that is what I would say in terms of just like the esports scene for Halo. Is it's crazy how influential it was, for sure.
I guarantee you that if you talk to, you know, a NAF, or you talk to like even someone as young as like Grim, like I guarantee you that like there is a lot of North American like Counter-Strike pros, right? Go pros, who would say to you like, you know, my introduction to esports, like the only reason I care about esports is because I was playing like Halo Reach when I was like 7. You know what I mean? And like I was like console gaming and like shooters on console was what got me into at a very early age, right? Before I was really like, you know, sweaty enough to like pick up a mouse and keyboard or something, right? Yeah, it's just can't be, it really can't be overstated. Yeah, I think this is a good place to put it. I think low S tier is an extremely reasonable place to put Halo. I think for sure.
Agree.
Cool.
I totally agree. I dipped out of the conversation mostly because I had to go to the bathroom, but also I've never played Halo because I was not a Halo kid, did not have an Xbox growing up, but I respect the hell out of Halo. Every time that I was able to go to a friend's house and play Halo is great times.
It is a great game. I have very, very fond memories of like split screen 2v2, right? Like deathmatch or like free for all, like with fucking warthogs, man, and like dude, like on blood on Gulch, like just put that shit in my veins, dude.
It's so good, man.
I miss that shit, man. That is like on some granular. It's as granular as going to the internet cafe when you were like, you know, 11 or whatever, 12, and playing 1.6 for people who are around my age or even a little younger or older. Like it's like the fucking lifeblood of like competitive shooters is like playing, you know, Halo 3 on the Xbox 360 2v2, right? Like, oh man, like split screen, like Ed Floofy's just said screen peeking and then lying about screen peeking, and like, dude, like, oh, that shit is, that stuff's really important. All right, I'm glad.
Gentlemen, I appreciate you letting me come on and gush about
Absolutely.
the only console FPS that actually matters. I'm sorry, COD. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I love you.
No problem, buddy. Love you too.
Bye.
You too,
Bye,
buddy.
chat.
All right.
Right.
Overwatch.
Colton's such a sweetheart.
Colton's
He's a
the
gift from
biggest
God.
sweetheart. He is an absolute. We don't deserve Colton.
Honestly, facts.
Overwatch. Y'all ready? So I'm taking Overwatch collectively. Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2. I'm not going to separate them. That would be absurd. I'm taking it collectively. So you can assume that we talk about Overwatch, we are talking about Overwatch, like both games together. I am a very big Overwatch player. A lot of people don't know this. I am a very big Overwatch player. I've been playing Overwatch very seriously for almost 5 years. And I really enjoyed the first game. I have been playing a shitload of the second game since it came out. And I played Overwatch 1 long after a lot of y'all probably gave up on the game. Like, I was playing Overwatch 1 semi-seriously pretty much up until Overwatch 2 came out. So I have a lot of thoughts about the game. It also, you know, holds a special place in my heart. I also fucking hate it, maybe more than any other game I've ever played. But let's talk about Overwatch. Do you guys play Overwatch? I mean, Magoo and I were talking about Overwatch a little bit this morning in a call. He just started playing with Overwatch 2. Devin, are you a big Overwatch player? The first or the second?
Yeah. I played a lot of Overwatch.
Okay.
Overwatch 1, and then not as much as you. Like, I'd say like probably like 30% less than you did, because I know that like you also got really into it with your fiance, right?
Yes.
So that was like a big part of you two playing a lot.
Yep.
And that was like kind of me with my brother. Like, we played it, but then like once he fell out, like it's not the most fun game to play on your own. I mean, not a lot of these games aren't, but like I think Overwatch does suffer from it more than other games. But yeah, I played a lot, really like the game, but same as you, I think there's a lot of fucking problems with it.
Especially with the rank system. Like we were talking about that this morning. Like Overwatch 2 was the first time that I played Overwatch. I think they made a big improvement, decreasing it from 6 people to 5 people. Like I can't really understand how it'd be 6 people. Like only
Sorry.
Oh man.
I apologize.
What?
What's up?
What?
I said fiance, and people are calling me out.
Oh, you're. Oh yeah, she's.
Ex-fiance.
When we were playing, most seriously, she was my fiance. She is now my wife. But yes, we do still play.
That threw me so.
Yeah, I was
like,
so confused. I was like,
everyone was
so
like
confused.
like saying shit in the comments. I was like, oh fuck, what did I do? What did I say wrong?
No, it's okay. You're chilling. You're chilling. I have this here because this is a thing. This is a glimpse into what some consider to be the golden age of the Overwatch League. This is Profits pop off 5K from the grand finals. The first season. Back when DPS players could actually pop off in Overwatch 1.
They actually mattered.
Yes.
Disaster generally for the Fusion, and Carpe wasn't far behind. Prophet with 3. He's killed 4 players now on his own. And the Spitfire
game is literally
coming
harder than
through this
Counter-Strike.
one.
I don't care.
It's very hard. By the way, this one's sick, but my favorite one, I showed this to my wife yesterday, and this is my favorite. So I'm a DPS player, not by main. I'm a tank player mostly, but I've been playing DPS lately, and there's a lot of Pharah in Overwatch 2. Anyone who's trying to counter a Pharah, watch this clip.
They're coming out, which is definitely something we know we can provide for us. This, I mean, this is something else, right?
That is fucking clean. That is some cheeky ass shit, dude. Yeah, that is like considered to be like that's really sick. Whoever thought Tracer could counter Pharah? Eh? Actually, so
That's
clean.
crazy.
So sick. Widely considered to be both the most infuriating, disappointing, and exciting game maybe of all time. Not quite, but Overwatch is a game that inspires a lot of emotions in a lot of people. I am one of them, unquestionably. I've often said there is no fucking game that tilts me off the face of the earth the way Overwatch does. Counter-Strike does not even come close in terms of how much it tilts me, or Siege, or League, or Dota. Like, nothing even comes close to how much I fucking hate this game. But I also really, really like it. This is a really hard one. This is a really hard one.
My question now, and maybe like for the sake of time as well.
Yeah.
Do we do Team Fortress right after this one?
We should do Team Fortress right after this one, because Team Fortress is obviously the game from which Blizzard kind of took their innovation, their idea. They basically said, like, what if we took Team Fortress and made it, like an actual MOBA, like FPS MOBA. I think Overwatch is a fantastic game. I really, really like it. I think that competitively it has a lot of problems. It obviously has a lot of problems as an esport, but that's largely because of the esport infrastructure. They're basically... The issues with the game are largely to do with how Blizzard executed the Overwatch League, and less so to do with, like, the game itself being, like, a fucking disaster or something, or, like, super bad. Obviously, it's had its windows. Like, it's obviously the GOATS era, and, 6v6 and what have you, and roll queue and blah, blah, blah. But, oh, man, Overwatch.
It's hard. It's a hard one.
This is a very hard one. This is a very, 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 very hard one.
Like, I want to say B.
My instinct is right in between Battlefield and Apex.
Yeah.
That's my
that's
instinct.
what I was
That's my
thinking, too.
instinct.
It's a B tier game because, like, for all of its faults, it's a really good game. It's a lot of fun, but like,
it has a lot of great aspects to the game, and a lot of not so great aspects to the game.
So here's the
I
thing.
think it counterbalances it. Like, the great aspects of Overwatch counterbalances the shitty aspects of Overwatch so perfectly that it's like the perfect B tier game.
Here's the thing, man. In my opinion, this is a better ranking. Like, in my opinion, this is what I would do. The problem, I think the game of Overwatch is infinitely more fun, infinitely more interesting, and in some ways infinitely more skillful than Valorant.
Yeah.
The problem that I run into is that the game has fucking problems, man. Evinced by the fact that they literally had to introduce role queue just to balance pro play, and then take a whole role out of the game, and then right, like, it's just, I love Overwatch. I love Overwatch, and I've played fucking thousands more hours of Overwatch than I ever will of Valorant. But I don't know, man. I just recognize that, like, it struggles as an esports. It struggles from a game balance standpoint. I think Blizzard just, and I never say this, like, people whine in Siege all the time, the devs don't know what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. I do not think Blizzard has any fucking idea what they're doing in balancing this game, man. I've said it for 5 years. I just don't, they baffle me with the decisions they make. I do think the move to 5v5 holistically is a very intelligent move, and I think from that standpoint, Blizzard have made some intelligent decisions. The problem is their like micro decisions. Like why Genji is still fucking overpowered as shit 6 years after release, right? Or why it took an entirely new game to release for Doomfist to get an actual nerf. Like, yeah. These things like this just like throw me for a loop, and I just don't understand why they can't. Like, anyway, I don't know, man. I'm not saying we keep this. God fucking knows I would love to keep the ranking like this. It would be so great. Or even like this. But, I mean, I don't know. How does that look? How do you guys feel about that?
I'm all right with it. Like, I'm
How do you guys
perfectly
feel about
fine.
that?
I don't think it should be an A, and I don't think it should be a low B.
Yeah.
I think it is probably the highest B on the list.
It's a very good game, and it is genuinely a very interesting game. It is a very, very interesting game, and it is a lot of fun. Oh, and here's the Overwatch star. I'm not gonna like roast a kid in chat. That's not me. I'm just my instinct. People are. Anytime you talk about game balance in Overwatch, there's just literally like the fucking creatures come at you, man. Anytime you talk about game balance in this game, more than any other video game I've ever played, more than Dota, more than League, more than CS, more than Siege, it is just crazy, bro. They've Stockholm syndrome these people into thinking that like the game is playable.
Yeah, it's very unbalanced.
It's a horrifically
Like,
imbalanced
we were
game.
talking about
Horrifically
Sojourn
imbalanced.
this morning. Like, it's
No. I'm not
insane.
sorry to cut you off, Magoo, because I gotta go on this tirade
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
We're not just talking about Sojourn being like balanced, or like someone here in chat undeniably is going to tell me that like Genji got nerfed because they shaved 2 damage off his shuriken, and he doesn't have his one-shot combo anymore, and he's literally unplayable. I'm talking about the fact that they had to rework like a fourth of the heroes in the game going into Overwatch 2 because they broke the game that badly. Like from Cassidy's stun grenade to Sombra to Doomfist getting a roll change from May's left click. Like, but up until Overwatch 2, everyone told me all the time, no, the game's in a perfectly good state. You have no idea what you're talking about game balance wise. And then they literally reworked every fucking hero in the game. And now that they're out, they'll be like, no, the game's in a perfect place now. You have no idea. Like, it's just crazy, man. I have never heard worse fucking takes about game balance than people who play this video game. It's just drinking. Whatever. It's insane to me.
Hit a nerve with that one.
Hit a nerve. Actually hit a nerve. That one sets me off, man. It blows my mind.
You're only allowed one of those.
Yeah, that's my one. That's actually my one. I'm looking at the rest of this list, and I don't have any others. That's my only one. I don't know. Silver takes. Hit me with it. Absolutely. Hit me with the silver takes. Let's go. Hit me with the silver takes. Diamond player over here, but hit me with the silver takes, please. Let's go.
Malding. Actually
yeah.
got you malding.
Actually got me malding. I know.
It's
just crazy, man. It's just so crazy. The takes are so like nauseatingly bad. Just crazy. Anyway, in terms of the actual ranking, it's hard to say. Like, I could see it going here. I don't want to like just put it above Valorant to tilt people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do want to try to stay as objective as possible. The game has problems. The game has serious design problems, and these are not arguable, right? Like, they're just not arguable. Like, the game has struggled as an esport. Goats destroyed basically any competitive interest in the game. These are things that are just facts, right? How does this look to you guys?
I think it looks perfectly fine. I have no argument.
I think that's perfect. I think it's super. I'm gonna say Overwatch is pretty mid. I haven't played too much of it to have like a full opinion on it, but sometimes the mid be hitting. Like when I play it with my friends and we just like vibe, it's fun. Trying to play the game as like playing ranked as a noob not knowing why you're losing because one person's doing something wrong that you can't tell is incredibly frustrating.
The game is also very whatever. We don't have to go into why.
It's still yeah.
We don't have to go into why. It's like sort of the game has problems. I think this is a very fair place to put it, in spite of all its faults. I really love Overwatch. I really, really love Overwatch. I always have, and I play a lot more Overwatch than probably most other people, and certainly more Overwatch than like other like CS:GO like sweats such as myself play.
Do you know what I love?
What do you love, Devin?
Team Fortress 2.
Let's talk about
A-tier.
TF2, baby. Let's
A-tier.
talk about TF2. It's obviously A tier. It's obviously A tier. The question is, where in A tier does it go and why? Do you have things you want to say about TF2?
Yeah, like obviously like not really a big competitive scene. They actually tried to bring it back not too long
Are we
ago.
just are we just gonna sit here and watch Meet the Medic?
Oh yeah.
Is that what the
for
stream
that
is gonna
for
become?
that alone, for the source filmmaker alone? But yeah, I think it's the highest A tier, at least for me, like for PC gaming. It essentially like revolutionized, at least because like obviously there's Team Fortress 1, but it revolutionized like class-based sort of gameplay or hero-based gameplay, I guess, as you'd call it in like these types of games, rather than just like, you know, support, rifleman, all that kind of stuff. But they actually tried to bring back the competitiveness, and I played it for a bit with Alex Debits, and unfortunately it immediately died. But this was, I think, like earlier this year or late last year, where they had what's it called, Face It. There was actually like Face It like integration of Team Fortress, and it was amazing, but it immediately fell off a cliff. So as a competitive game, like it's obviously just like doesn't have like even the same weight that Overwatch does. But like as far as like playing the game and like taking it like relatively seriously, like you could play this game two ways. Like you can be like, I'm just gonna fuck around, have a good time with my friends, don't really know what I'm doing, I'm gonna play the spy and be an idiot. Or you can be like the sweatiest scout of all time.
Yeah.
And like taking it seriously and being like, no, this is me, this is MLG time. I'm playing this game for real. I'm going sicko mode basically. And the fact that you can do both is like kind of amazing, because one of the things that like I think is kind of left a lot of shooters is the ability to play them casually. And it's like a huge conversation now, especially with like, you know, people talking about skill-based matchmaking, whether or not it's good for games and stuff like that. But you can't deny, like, look at the games we've talked about on this list, you know, Halo, Call of Duty, of course, Counter-Strike, going from source to Go. The casual nature of these games is going away. And I think that this was one of the last games. This is one of those last games where you could play it in any way you wanted to. You like I already said, like you can just fuck around, or you can be this guy, literally just like you're min-maxing being a spy. And I think that's what makes this game like truly amazing.
Yo, does anyone else just want to sell other CS:GO skins and just trade them all for fucking TF2
also
skins?
hats
And just
also
just
hats.
get into this.
Yeah.
Guys, Floofies, where are you, buddy? Let's go. I'm done.
Yeah.
Hove, I quit the team. I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
out.
it's
I'm
over.
out, buddy. I'm out. I'm done. I'm gonna uninstall CS:GO tonight. I'm reinstalling TF2 and we're going all in, baby. We're going all in. God, I missed this fucking game, dude.
It was so good. And like when it came back and I was playing with Alex, I was like, fuck, this game is so good. Like, and then it just immediately fell off a cliff. And now I think there's like one LATAM server. And I'm like for the Face It now.
Yeah,
like I know there's still tons of people that play it, and I download it every once in a while to play it. But obviously, like, do you remember when obviously like people that love TF2 still hold it, like, and probably hold a grudge, but like when this was like the Valorant versus
oh fuck yeah, dude,
versus Counter-Strike.
Real ones remember. Yeah.
It was so people were like, I can't believe they just copied them.
Yeah.
How are they getting away with this? Like,
I
this is
know.
intellectual property. It was like people were mauling because they're just like straight up like robbed Valve blind. Yeah, I just remember people being very upset about it, me included. I was like, oh wow. And then I played it. I'm like, okay, these games are different and they exist for different reasons. Yada yada yada.
I mean, look, man, like TF2 it's sort of along the lines of what we're talking about with, like, you know, this sort of cultural impact, right? Like in the other two games in our A tier right now, right? You know, MWs. I mean, I think there is a serious case to be made, and like I know that PC sweats are gonna like really come at me. Remember, I'm one of you guys. Chill before I say this. I think there's a serious case to be made that this is tenable. It's really important to remember like actually how revolutionary Modern Warfare was. But I could also see this. I could also see this.
I'll allow it.
You think and some people are saying S tier. I don't know, man. This is a hard one. This is a really hard one. It's such a solid game, bro. It's such a solid game. And the idea of putting TF2 below any Call of Duty just feels insane. I think bottom S, but I could see top A. And if Floofy says it, then I mean the man's a TF2 diehard. What do you guys think? Have you ever played TF2, Magoo?
I've only played TF2 a handful of times. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, it's cool that you've played it. Like, it's cool that you haven't played Halo and had never played Overwatch 1, but have played TF2. Like, that speaks to, like, the ubiquitousness of Team Fortress 2, right?
I love TF2 so much that, like, I would put it S, but, like, I just don't, like, because of, like, we need to consider competitive nature of the game and, like, whether or not a scene even exists or existed.
Yeah.
Like, obviously
it's also worth remembering that Valve just does not.
Almost let it die.
And remember, like, I know that that's
and then
true.
did let it die.
I know that's true of CS:GO, but also as well. But do keep in mind the fact that like the community, you know, really carried CS:GO from a competitive standpoint and a content creation standpoint. I know that they've also done the same for TF2. Don't get me wrong. I understand that, but not competitively. Like, it's obviously different, right? Like CS:GO or TF2 is not even a fraction of the esport that the CS:GO is. So it's tough. It's tough. I could see this. I could also see this. I think maybe for now we leave it here. I want to be really like discriminating about these S tiers, you know? Like, I want to be really like, I think TF2 is an amazing video game. I think it's an incredible, one of the greatest PC shooters of all time. I do not think it defined an era of gamers the way that these other three in the top list have. I think that's fair to say. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
We can move it. But I think that it's okay right here, right now. Like, I think that, yeah. All right, what's up next? Siege. Rainbow Six Siege, guys. I love Siege. I'm fair to say I'm the biggest Siege player in this call. I don't know what your guys' experience are with Siege. Before I start talking about it,
I back in like 2018, it was like for the first time, it was like the game that I played more than like Counter-Strike. Like, I loved it like in like 2017, 2018. But ever since the pandemic, like, I tried to get back into it, and I even played with like you sometimes.
Yep.
And I still love the game. Like, I love it. I hold like I said, at one point it like I was defending the game, being like, no, this is better than Counter-Strike right now. But I just like haven't played it nearly as much recently. I still buy the fucking season passes whenever they come out, and I like never play them, just because I'm like, maybe I'll get the spark, but I never do. But I do love the game. I think it's super unique. There's a lot of problems, obviously, you know that, and you can probably speak on them better than I can.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things is like, I think watching it is just very difficult for a lot of people. It's hard to get into, where other games are very easy to get into as far as watching it.
I think that's my main problem with Siege. So Siege came out when I was in my casual era of gaming, when I was Fortniting it up, playing Apex, Fortnite BRs, and it just seems like so hard to get into.
Yeah.
Like, I have such a huge admiration for Siege. It's sick, and it looks so much fun, but you basically got to read a textbook before playing the game.
You definitely do.
Which is just like, it's impossible to get into. Like, you gotta do a university course.
Yeah.
On Rainbow Six Siege before you
It's
play.
like Dota. The only game that I've ever played that is even comparable is Dota. It's extremely difficult to get into it. You know, the knowledge required, the buy-in is just crazy. Siege has a ton of problems. It is very hard to get into. There's a lot of issues with the engine. There's a lot of issues with cheaters. There's a lot of issues with bugs. There's a lot of issues with just everything. It's a game that basically was designed to be like a fucking Ghost Recon console game that ended up becoming a tier 1 esport very briefly. You know, it's a game that has basically been built up from the ground. You know, the launch of this game was not good. It was not strong. It was very bad, actually, and Ubisoft actually are one of the very few developers in the history of esports who have actually found a way to revive their game.
Oh, yeah.
They actually revived it. The game was dead. It was dead. It was a stillborn birth. and they actually found a way to revive it and turn it into, you know, what it became and what it is. And this is widely considered to be, in my opinion, and many others as well, widely considered to be the best play. Like, basically, I think this is the quintessential Siege breakdown. This is the ever heralded hot and cold clutch from the season 10 finals in Japan.
Very much protection. He'll see 2 flashbangs sail over.
Widely considered to be the most finely casted moment in the history of the game. Of course, the late kickstart. In an absolutely just clinical, unbelievable 1v3 put on by Hot and Cold. Those who know. And this is, yeah. This clip is all you need to know about Siege.
Dark Zero down to Hot and Cold, who's managed to light up the Lion and Mav. Only 1 full HP attacker left, but it's the same story for Hot and Cold. And there goes Cameraman. It's 1 shot for 9XT, 1 shot for Mav, and Hot and Cold will win this out. Only 26 bullets left in that Alda, but that's plenty. And he knows this low HP. He can use his Evil Eyes to win this. There's still 40 seconds left, so this is not a rush situation for FaZe. They will pick up Cameraman. So we're back to a 1-on-3. The tension is huge. Well, Evil Eye going to be a massive factor here for Hot and Cold if he can play this correctly. He cannot vault this, so he'll prep it, but that'll give away his rotation and his intentions. It doesn't seem that 9XT has noticed this,
Game
though.
is so
It doesn't
tech.
seem like there's a camera, and there's a nice kill for Hot and
I'm just
Cold.
watching it
He
now,
only
like,
needs 2
it's
more,
insane.
and they're both still very low. He can deny the plant with the Evil Eye and just keep himself alive. 19 bullets, so he's got to be careful with that ammunition counter, and here's the denial! Seconds, and Cameraman has to rush. Will he land the shot?
Bro's killing him from a camera.
Yeah.
What?
Literally got shot with a camera. Unlucky.
Widely
Yeah.
considered to be the most finely casted moment in the history of the game. Of course, again, the late kickstar, Nintero, delivering that absolute masterclass in Siege breakdown. You don't really have to understand what's happening to sort of, you know, get the palpable, you know, like tension and right. It's Siege at its best. There's not quite anything like it. I remember listening to a professional player say to me once that on LAN, it is the single greatest FPS game they have ever played. Online, it's not even top 5. And this was a professional player who said this. It's not even top 5
Interesting.
online.
That's
But
interesting,
on
actually.
LAN, it is the best. Better than Counter-Strike. Like, and this person is a CS:GO player. Like better than,
That's crazy.
yeah, it's really it's a very, very, very special game at its best, and anyone who knows, you know, who plays it knows that. Unfortunately, it is plagued by bugs, cheaters, a developer who at times makes very puzzling decisions about the, you know, the future of the game. Siege is a tough one. Here's what I'll say about Rainbow Six that is the most important thing that I want to say. We've talked about how Valorant is, you know, a carbon copy of Counter-Strike. We've talked about even how, you know, CS:GO is just a you know, an iteration on Source, which was an iteration on 1.6, right? The thing I will say about Rainbow Six is that Rainbow Six Siege was a genuine revolution of the tac shooter genre. Like, this game was not just like they just did CS but with fucking League of Legends abilities. Like, this is truly a singular game. There's nothing like it. You know, it's not Overwatch vis-a-vis TF2. It's not Valorant vis-a-vis CS:GO. Like, this game is its own thing. There is nothing like it. Nothing like it. And I think that that is the big thing that really, in my estimation, like, props it up. There is
I as well, yeah.
Yeah, it has so many problems. Oh my god, man, it has so many problems. But from its fundamental design principle, there is nothing quite like Rainbow Six. Nothing. And that's the thing. There's nothing even quite like it. There's nothing like that even remotely, until Amazon Studios releases that mystery game they've been working on that all the old Siege devs went to go work on. Until that comes out, there's nothing like this game. And
the other thing too, like, obviously, like, Ubisoft isn't the perfect developer, but yeah, at some point you do have to give them props, like, that they don't let something die very easily. Like, even if they really, whether it's a single player game or whatever they release, and, you know, regardless of how the immediate reception is, like, they don't abandon something for the most part, and they have, you know, put a lot of work into making this game better and trying to listen to developers and everything, like, or fans and competitive players. but just to make this game at the time that they did took a lot of, I don't want to say courage because that's a little dramatic,
Yeah.
but like to make this game that no one was really looking for.
Yes.
And like to have it be a, you know, what I would say is relatively like an insanely successful game for what it is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I remember like I was just like, oh shit, they're really making like this kind of game. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's probably just gonna be a game that they release, and then I play it for a year and then it goes away. It's like, no, this game is going to be 7 years later is still going to be getting content updates and stuff like that. I think it's really cool that we get sort of blessed with another game. Yeah. Another tactical FPS that's different.
An entirely new subgenre of game.
Yeah.
It's totally different. There's nothing like it. There's just nothing like it. It's just yeah. I personally think I think
it's
go ahead, Devin.
I was going to say, is it the lowest A?
I think it's the lowest A. I think it's the lowest A. I think that in spite of all, I think that the thing that Siege wins the award for is the preface that says in spite of all its faults ... Like that's the thing. Like Valorant has no faults. That's what I meant when I said earlier, like from the tick rate to the anti-cheat to the server infrastructure to the like it has no faults. The game is just sort of like it's like, you know what I mean, like it's mid. Siege has just like, dude, the litany of problems with Siege is just like, where do you even begin? But in spite of all of those faults, the game is so beautiful and it's so singular and it's so exciting and there's nothing like it. And it's just, yeah, I think it's low. I think it's the lowest A. High A, people are saying. People are even saying high A. I mean,
sure, but it just
hard,
like
man. That's hard.
I don't think it could be like.
I don't think it's as
doesn't
iconic as the other A.
It's not as iconic. Doesn't have the cultural impact.
No.
Like the scene is better. Sure, it's a much more alive game than the other ones are. But like, I just don't think you could.
I could honestly see this. I could see this. I think if we're being completely honest, Modern Warfare 2 is Modern Warfare 2. Like it's like one of the GOATs. The thing is that if we're talking about games that revolutionized the genre, we're talking about games that actually, Modern Warfare is the game that did that. Modern Warfare 2 was just MW on steroids. It was just MW on steroids. They didn't do anything with Modern Warfare 2 that was actually like fucking to the moon crazy. Like they were just like, what if you could just have akimbo fucking AKs? Like what if you could have two of them? Like, which is fun as shit, don't get me wrong. But it's like, you know what I mean? Like pound for pound, was Siege a more, like from a design standpoint, is it a more impressive and impactful and singular game than Modern Warfare 2? I think so. Yeah. But what do you guys think?
I agree. I like that.
Yeah. I think it's so novel.
It's so novel, man. Yeah, it just is. Yeah. Okay.
C.
All right, so here's the thing, guys.
Actually, now that I think about it, D tier.
Yeah. So dead ass, guys. Dead ass. I have played Warzone, I think once or twice on stream.
Just put it in C.
I don't know. I actually have no thoughts. I'm being serious. I have no thoughts. I need you guys to. It was these guys' suggestion to put it in here. I was happy to abide. I do think it deserves a place in the conversation, but I do not have thoughts. Like what do I say about my experience with Warzone is watching Tim the Tatman play it because he's my favorite streamer. But that's literally it. I don't.
Yeah. Sorry.
You go.
No, you go off.
No.
King.
We'll be Canadian for a second.
All right.
What's this clip? Who put this clip in here? Magoo?
Yeah, I put it in there.
Okay.
Aim
assist.
To me, saying that Valorant is a game I'd rather play than watch, Warzone is legitimately a game I'd rather watch than play.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm like I'd rather people that are good play it. I love I love the way like Call of Duty now. I love the revival, especially with like Modern Warfare 1 and 2 and to an extent Cold War. Warzone is really cool. It's obviously like a huge fucking W for them, like massively successful. Crazy microtransactions, so big ups for them for figuring that out. Always love to see it. But it's just like it's fun. It's like a popcorn. It's like the MCU of video games. It's just a fucking random, crazy, do whatever you want, rush around with these crazy guns, jumping up and down like a psychopath. you know, and the whole squad's there. You got Pogba, you got, you know, like it's kind of like Fortnite in that sense, but like I rather play this than Fortnite. But and this might sound stupid, but like there's only one Fortnite and there's like multiple Call of Duties that they release every year rather than just releasing just I mean, I guess Warzone, this is only second one, so that is a stupid take, but I don't know. I don't know if it's better than Fortnite.
My major problems with Warzone is it's so slow to play, being like a not great Warzone player.
Yeah.
I think it's only fun if you have a great vibe stack, and basically you're just on a Discord call. I think it's fun to watch, like you said. I totally agree with that. But playing it, if the vibes aren't right in the stack, and if the vibes aren't 10 out of 10, it's boring.
There is an element of like getting like when you get into like the plane, and there's like a little element of dread where you're like, oh fuck, all right, we got to do this again. And there's another game on this list that sparks that exact same fucking feeling. Whereas just like when I play like, you know, arguably like, I know they're not on the list, but a game like Hunt Showdown and Tarkov, which are arguably more like, at least like I know that's what I'm getting into. Like I'm playing that game to go full like immersion, you know, headphones way up, taped across my head so I can hear better. But like this game, it's like it's just such a big fucking map, and I'm like, holy shit, like I got to do this and that, and now like there's strongholds in Warzone 2. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good.
Where does it go? I'm literally to you guys.
C.
I have like no thoughts.
I think it's C.
I think it's C. It's like
C
it's
tier?
good. People love it, but like at the same time, it dies.
Yeah.
Like I think we rated Fortnite, so like I'd rather play it than Fortnite, absolutely. But like as far as just like respecting the game, like,
Fortnite's just it's a more important game, right? It just has to be.
It's
like,
done more.
Fortnite Warzone only exists, quite literally only exists because Fortnite did what it did for BRs. That's like just like chronologically, that ontologically, that's just true, right? Like Fortnite made BRs the most popular genre on the planet, and then Warzone or COD was like, let's do a BR, right? C. Some people are saying C. Yeah, that seems.
I think
it's
fine. I think it's above Source.
You think it's above Source? Not above Source.
No. You're a Source lover.
He won't abide it.
Okay. Well,
it's also Warzone. It's a game within a game.
That's true.
It's true.
I'm not rating it higher.
It's a little bit much to say above Source.
Yeah, that's true. That's
a little bit Source. Oh, I was Hove who said what above Source. I didn't even see that. I didn't read the name. Yeah. Hove's memeing, man. He's fucking memeing. All right, okay. PubG. This is also one. You know what? Why don't we do H1Z1 first? Because that's like it. Literally, one predates the other, right? We're doing all the BRs here. So I've never played H1Z1. Excuse me, my Canadian is showing. And I kind of need. I've heard really great things though about the heyday of this game. Do you guys have thoughts? Have you played it? Like, is this?
Yeah, like I played like a lot of like DayZ, and then like H1Z1 was kind of the more like. Gave a similar feeling, but was like more fast paced, a little bit like easier. It wasn't like the RPG element that like basically was games like DayZ and DayZ standalone. But yeah, it was good. It was just like something really got to me about the lack of polish, and I know some people like love it for that, and they think that the game is like that's what made it so special, is like it kind of
character.
It gave it its character, and I do agree with that. But like, fuck, it just like got to a point, and we'll get to it when we talk about PUBG, but like, it just didn't feel good to play.
I agree with that. I played a lot of H1Z1 back in the day. I think
it felt like I was playing a fake game. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Like some random guy made it. It felt like a mod, which wasn't it?
It is a mod.
So it definitely felt very moddy. The lack of polish gave it its charm, but also is the reason why I ended up stop playing it. Because it's just not fun after a while.
Yeah,
it's just so frustrating.
And that's the reason there was like a heyday that lasted like all of like 6 months.
There's no depth to the game.
Yeah.
Fucking school.
D. I'm sorry.
How are you not in fucking school?
D.
You
Below.
kiss your mother with that mouth?
Black Ops.
It's called you
I'd rather
kiss
play
your mother
Black
with
Ops
that
in this
fucking
game
mouth?
ever again.
Huh?
This is all I know about H1Z1, bro. Is this fucking ninja clip.
Or the Summit 1G punch. That was H1Z1.
Shut up when I'm talking to you. You shut your mouth.
I think it was at least.
Sends me, guys. Sends me. All right. D tier? Is that what you guys said?
Yeah.
Yeah,
teacher.
it had its moment, and it's gone.
I know that a lot of people would say that it should probably go above Warzone. I know that there's a lot of people who hold this game in very, very, very high regard. But I'm not. I can't. Sorry, my screen. Yeah, would say like here, but I can't. I'm not one of them, and I don't want to make that case. So if you guys feel like it's D tier, and that the actual like polished BRs have to come up, I'm ahead of it, I think that's fine.
It looks like it played and looked like a game that was like, if there was like a movie where people were working on making a game, that was the game they were working on and making.
That's honestly facts. It seems like background B-roll of a movie game.
People do. Sorry, someone in chat's asking, Patty's asking, people hold it in high regard. You know what they hold in high regard, Patty? They hold in high regard that like early era of BRs before Fortnite, before PubG, before like when H1Z1 was literally just like it was novel, and we didn't know what BRs were going to become yet. And it was like a lot of people who did play the game back then, like even guys like Shroud, right, will like talk sometimes about like, oh, I miss like early H1Z1, right? Like, yeah. All right, PubG, same thing. I've never played PubG. I've literally never played it. I know some people still play it. Fucking Ryan, formerly of the Score Esports, Ryan McKenna, still plays this game. I've never played it. I don't like. Obviously, I know it had its great era. But where's PubG go?
I have to give it respect for how big the game is outside of North America and Europe.
Yeah.
Like the game is so big in Asia that it's just like it would be like a disservice and like almost disrespectful to be like, yeah, this game fucking sucks.
Okay.
I fucking hate this game and I should love it because I have like 1,000 hours in like Arma, and like all these games are basically are variations of like the Bohemia Interactive like engine. So like the looting system, which like a lot of people don't like the looting system, they find it like confusing and annoying and stuff like that, which is perfectly fine. Like it's not for everyone. This game, like in all honesty, just never ran properly on my computer.
Yeah.
Every time I tried to play it, like I would land, textures were not loaded in. And like this is the PC version. It just felt like a game that was never done, which felt like every fucking Bohemian interactive game. H1Z1, DayZ standalone, like all the games just always felt unfinished and like unpolished. And like in Arma, like that was like the perfect, like it felt like it was polished. Like it felt like the game, like that was what the game was intended to be. But like in these variations of it, it just never ran properly for me. The cosmetics sucked so much, which is not something I really care about in games. But now that I'm just looking at it, just, if you're gonna like complain about, just for something to complain about, they're just like essentially non-existent. But yeah, the fact that like this is such a pivotal game in Asia for like their esports community and like FPSs in Asia, like I need to give it respect for that.
Yeah.
But also, it's very important for the BR.
Very important.
Exactly.
There would not be a
Very
Fortnite
important.
if there wasn't a PUBG.
Bro,
yeah.
Shroud was just as important to PUBG as PUBG was to Shroud.
Yeah.
Like it really put, you know, not just BRs on the map, but it put some of these streamers on the map. Obviously Shroud was a very famous Counter-Strike player before, right? But he was a competitor, you know what I mean? Like his stream blew up when he was playing PUBG, right? And you know, it heralded that Fortnite era that would come later, obviously. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've always thought it looks really interesting. I've always heard people say that like it just feels really good. I think that's what Ryan would say to me is like the game just is clunky as it is. It just sort of has like a great, I don't know, like it just feels crispy. You know what I mean?
Horval said check hate. That is not the case. I love the Arma series. It just like all these like, I just think it's a very difficult engine to work with, despite a billion fucking games being made using like an engine or a version of this engine or something that's like inspired by this engine. Like I can't tell you how many times I loaded into something and there was just nothing spawned, and I just like it just doesn't make you feel good, and it doesn't make you feel like playing the game.
So where does this go?
I'm so conflicted with this one.
Where does it go?
I think this is the toughest one to rank.
PubG, man. PubG. Where does it go? I can't even weigh in, guys. All I can weigh in is from a like cultural standpoint or like historical, like as someone who like, you know what I mean? Like whatever, like worked in esports, seeing how it affected the world, but I've never played it. I've literally never played the game even once. So I just have no thoughts on how it plays.
I've only played the game a couple of times and it did not work on my PC, so I had to refund it. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Let me clarify. To my knowledge, this game isn't Bohemian or Interactive, but like you cannot look at this game and tell me that it was not inspired by Arma 3.
It definitely
as far
was,
as like
right?
its looting system, I would be aghast. Like I think it's an Unreal Engine game, to be honest with you, because what the fuck isn't? But like I cannot look at this game and not think that it's just like, oh, this is if they try to make it a twitchy FPS. If they try to make Arma a twitchy FPS. Like even the death animations are like exactly the same, where they just like kind of just like T-pose and fall over. It was originally an Arma 3 mod. There you go. Yeah. So
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So that makes sense to me. Like, yeah, there's no way that it wasn't.
Is PUBG better than Source?
To me, no. But I mean,
Someone in the chat said PUBG made BR popular.
Yeah,
which made
I'd say so.
BRs popular as a genre.
It definitely did.
I'd say
It
so.
100% did. Oh, it's undeniable. Yeah, for sure. Like Fortnite sent fucking BRs to the moon. Fortnite made BR like the most popular game on the planet. But absolutely, PUBG is like the thing that made like people only started making BRs. Like Warzone happened, Fortnite Battle Royale happened because PUBG happened. Because PUBG was this actually genuinely like novel standalone release, right? It was
the grandfather of.
It is.
The one thing I will say, part of me deep down does not give a shit.
Yeah.
And I just think this game is just not good. Like, literally the only reason I want to give praise to it is that a lot of people like it. And it's just like, it's unfair for me to be like, yeah, this game sucks, when like 1 billion people on the other side of the planet play this game and love it. On both mobile, a fucking laptop, I don't even know, a Tamagotchi you could probably play this game on and probably run the same.
So what are you thinking? Low B, high C?
I'd say lowest C.
Lowest C.
I'd rather play Warzone than it.
That's true.
I feel like we are, dude. It's gotta be B, man. I just don't think it's possible for it to not be B tier.
I think we've been rating a lot of games off cultural influence.
What is the cultural impact of winner chicken dinner?
It all.
It's important, but I think that low B is, I think PUBG's a really important game. It is a really important game. And I think that there's a lot of people who do still play this game. And I think that it's definitely more important than Warzone. It would feel really shitty if we put Warzone above. Right. Putting Apex above PUBG is like totally fair. That's completely fair. Like Apex is a real, like polished novel, like as we've said, the perfect expression of the BR genre. Right. But like Warzone is literally just like fucking COD, but a BR. And like as an excuse to get people to fucking buy the new Call of Duty, right? Like that's literally it. Like it sort of feels like kind of disingenuous, right?
The only reason I say like it's loads because like all the other games that we've like given respect to it for like its cultural impact, I actually like those games as well. Whereas like this is the first one where like I want to like this game and I'm supposed to like this game, but I don't. And who knows? Maybe it's different now. I don't know a single person that fucking plays it that could tell me if this game is like it runs like butter. You should try it on max settings. It looks beautiful, plays crispy. Yeah, you know what? I should, whatever. I'm fine. I'm good with it.
You're good with it? It's got to be B tier, man. Come on. It just has to be. Like, there's just no way that we don't recognize the importance of this game. And the fact that it's not dead. Like, I know that everyone likes to joke about heroes, but it's not dead. Like, there's...
No, when you walked away, I literally said, I'm like, there's 1 billion people on the other side of the planet that, like, all they do is rip this game. So just, like, it's huge.
All right,
like guys. I remember like whenever you go on like Twitch and like it shows you like, oh, what games or like what's being streamed, and it's always like near the top and you're like, all right, I guess so, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like at the time that you're like about to go to sleep, it's like blows up and it's like there's 400,000 people watching PUBG streams. I'm like, sure, why not?
Well, we have one more. S
tier call today.
We have Counter-Strike 1.6, the original Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike 1.6.
So overrated.
Deeply overrated. Just an overrated game. Counter-Strike 1.6, a lot of us people came up playing this game, growing up playing this game. I think it is very fair to say that Counter-Strike 1.6 is the single most influential shooter ever made. The only thing that ever maybe even compares would be something like the original Doom, right? Maybe Wolfenstein, but it's really, really hard to find something that actually compares. And those are like, we're talking about single player games. Like I'm in terms of competitive shooters, nothing even remotely compares to Counter-Strike 1.6. Counter-Strike 1.6 is someone in chat just said this is only esports. If it was actually all shooters, there's some other top tiers missing. Oh god, there'd be like dozens of top tiers missing. Yeah. We are only doing competitive like esports shooters. Counter-Strike 1.6 is a game that I grew up playing, as a lot of us did. Devin, I believe you said that you grew up playing 1.6.
Yeah. I played it a lot. I will tell you, this is my routine. I played D-Rats, CS Assault, Surf Egypt, and FY Ice World and Pool Day. Those were basically the only maps I played. Like, I was not good at the game. I was very young. This was like literally like I would sit behind my brother when he was playing the game. He was really good at it. And I would just sit behind him and watch him. And then when he would go up to like do something, I would like sit down and play a little bit, and then he would come back down. And then like when he was done or bored or had to do like homework or whatever, then I would like sit and play a little bit. I was obsessed with this game. I tried making maps, but I never took the game like seriously. Like I didn't get it as like a serious game because I think I was too young. But like I was somehow old enough to be like, oh, I want to like try to get my brother to like help me download like the assets to make maps. Like this game. Can I actually tell you guys a funny anecdote? This was like so little how little my understanding of games were. I was playing once on FY FY Ice World. I was playing and I got kicked from the server, and I like my heart literally sank into my chest. And it just like the Steam text box comes up and says you've been kicked from the server, and I thought I like got the account banned. I don't know why, and I started like fucking weeping. I was like, my brother's gonna beat my ass. Like, oh my god, what did I do? And I like was like pacing back and forth, like didn't know what to do. He was at hockey practice, so I was like freaking out. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get in shit. And then like I literally just didn't say anything, and I was waiting, and he went down, and then like I just like waited like 10 minutes, and I like walked Peter around the corner, and he's just playing on Dust 2, and I'm like, holy shit. And like shit. Everyone's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, I'm 9 years old, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love this game.
Did you
That's my
ever
piece.
Tell him?
Huh?
Did you ever
Did you
tell
ever tell
like
him?
tell him?
He asked, and he said, he's like, you get kicked to make room for other people. Like, people just kick you to make room for their friends. And I was just like, oh,
absolutely,
okay.
like nothing of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Magoo, did you grow up playing 1.6?
No, I was too young. I did not have
That's
a
fair.
computer.
Yeah. And you're an OG CS:GO guy. A lot of people probably don't know this. You've been playing CS:GO since like 2014, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
from the beginning. I used to watch the majors. I had Katowice cobblestone cases that I sold for $60 each. They're really nice.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for 1.6. So
got at the request of Hove, we got some classic K Sharp. Okay, so 1.6 is the single most important competitive shooter ever made. I think the only thing that could really compare is Quake, sort of holistically, but even then it's tough, right? Because Quake is sort of just as influential, if not more influential, as a single player game than as a multiplayer game. So it's sort of hard. I think that if you're speaking strictly from a multiplayer standpoint, 1.6 takes the cake. It obviously existed as basically the premier competitive PC FPS game, you know, from basically like 2001 until 2011. And the reason for that is largely because Source was so dog shit that everybody switched and stayed onto it. Doom, yeah, Floofy's again Doom, but I think it's, again, there's conflations of single player versus multiplayer, right? If you're just actually talking about a multiplayer shooter, the most important, it's 1.6. And I think that this game you know, for up until 2011, this game was basically the premier shooter. If you've never played it, it's a very, 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 very hard game. It is a very, very hard game. It's way harder than CSGO. If you think that CSGO is hard vis-a-vis Valorant, I would implore you to play 1.6. 1.6 was an exceptionally difficult game. Shroud had a very good take, semi-recently, where he said that the 1.6 gamers, like the true greats of the 1.6 era, from guys like K-Sharp to Get Right to Forest to Neo, right, were the greatest god gamers in the history of gaming. These guys who were good at this game could be good at any game. I don't think it's a coincidence that Forest is also a god at Dota. He's also a god at League. He's a god at Warzone. He's a god at fucking everything he touches, just because he came up on this game. If you could be good at this game, you could be good at literally anything. The influence of 1.6, like of the original Counter-Strike, is just, it's impossible to overstate, from playing it in LAN cafes to your own PCs, every country in the world, every continent, basically. It is the thing that turned Counter-Strike into what it is today. The other thing about 1.6 that is really important to understand is that the mechanics were very, very, very clean. Very clean. This game was the crispiest shooter ever made. And here's where my take comes in. I still play 1.6. This is my browser, playcs.com. I was playing some today. I play like twice a week, maybe. I still play 1.6. I would not only did 1.6 feel very, very, very good, but I would give anything for CSGO to feel as good as 1.6 does. In my opinion, CS 1.6 still feels better than CSGO. There is something about the movement in this game that is... I was talking about this with Rops. I interviewed him a year and a half ago maybe, and he and I were talking about it, and he's an OG KZ guy. For those who don't know, he's actually an OG 1.6er in spite of his age. He's very young, but he's actually an OG 1.6er, and he's a big KZ guy. And he said there's still something about the movement in 1.6 that just feels absolutely sublime. There's something about it, and I agree completely. I still think that CSGO ultimately feels a little bit too floaty. It feels a little bit too... The ice skating versus one, it's not quite as good as 1.6. It doesn't quite feel as crispy, and it's the crispiest shooter like in the world now that we play, for sure, CSGO. But when I go back and play 1.6, it's not nostalgia, man. I'm telling you, it's not nostalgia. I still think the game feels better. I think that there are 100 million fucking things. For those who don't know, you had to buy your ammo in 1.6. I don't know if you knew that, Magoo. You had to buy your ammo. You'd buy an AK, in 1.6, and you only get 30 bullets. You have to buy reserve magazines to go with it. Insane. There was so much shit about 1.6 that would need to be modernized, obviously. But in terms of just the mechanics, in terms of just the shooting, in terms of the movement, in terms of like the visibility, like just, just get into a 1.6 server. I'm telling you right now, and I promise you, you'll feel the way that I do. This game, I still wish CSGO felt this good, and in my opinion, it doesn't. 1.6 is the single greatest shooter ever made. It's not even close. Wow. It's not even close. It both in terms of its historical import, which is undeniable, obviously. That part of it is just fact. But in terms of how the game actually feels, it is a 20+ year old game that to this day still feels better than basically every other shooter.
I think this begs the question then, do we have an S+ tier?
If there were an S+ tier, it would be 1.6, and I think that's not a hot take. I think most people would.
Can we add
agree
the
with
S+
that.
tier?
I could, when I edited it, I could add it. Do you guys want to do an S plus tier? I think I'd have to re-add them all, unfortunately.
Then you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. No, I will just say
it's S plus in our hearts.
I will just say it's I've had this conversation with the knives and the gloves lists as well, where I said, like, should we have an S plus tier, should they not, whatever. I think the difference between having an S plus tier and just ranking it as the highest S tier is sort of negligible. Like, I think it's fine, obviously, if we just leave it as the highest S tier, but there is no question that 1.6 deserves a god tier. There's no question. And it's not just, like I said, I know I'm beating a drum a bit here, but it's not just because of, like, how important the game was historically. It's the fact that to this day, there is still, in my opinion, not a shooter that feels as good as this game felt. I go back and play 1.6, man, and I just, like, I play a couple of maps in the morning before work, and then I play a league match in CSGO that night, and I think to myself, man, I wish the AK in CSGO felt as good as the AK in 1.6. It just doesn't. It just doesn't feel as good, man. This game is...
You're
it's
making me
really
want to
good.
queue up some 1.6.
You fucking should,
You
Magoo.
can.
You
don't
should,
even-
bro.
Just use your browser.
Yeah.
You can literally play in your browser, dog. You don't even need to get it on Steam. But someone mentioned in chat earlier, there's still what, 17,000 people who play this game on, like, 1.6 on Steam. So
Whenever I would go capture stuff that I want to shoot for, like, a video, and I want to go in game and capture stuff from 1.6, I'll always just, like, rip a few games because, like, I just can't help myself.
you can't. It's just like, you see, like, this, like, the K-Sharp clips here, you can see, like, just the way the movement, like, these players did this in 1.6 in a game where we didn't have spray patterns, right? Like, where you like they had, like, something akin to Valorant shooting, and they managed to basically, like, hit spray transfers and, like, fucking do, like, insane jump peaks and, like, man, this fucking game. I wish CSGO was as good as this game. I do. I really do. Maybe the next Counter-Strike. Maybe next time, lads.
Damn. What a
Return to
heartwarming
tradition.
ending.
What a
I know.
heartwarming. That's why I wanted to save it.
The
No, it
most
makes sense.
Wholesome ending.
Yeah.
I love that. Beautiful.
Well,
Stuck.
that's it, guys. Play some 1.6. That's the takeaway here.
Yeah.
Go play some 1.6. It is truly a phenomenal game to this day. Very good. 1.6 would be free to play, ? Yep. You can go in, like I said, you can go here, playcs.com, and you can literally play it in your browser, dude. You can literally play it in your browser. Or just buy it on Steam. I think it's like $1.50 on Steam. But yeah, it's still yeah, dude. Well, we did it, chat. Gaming, shooters. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this list. What a pleasure.
Of course.
What a pleasure.
Thank you for
Kind
having
of
us.
fun. Thank you. Yeah. This is great.
It was a lot of fun. Did you guys enjoy yourselves?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Had so much fun. Yeah, thank you for inviting us.
Let us know when the next list is. We're gonna do MOBAs.
Yeah.
All
Just for those who are
four of them.
asking about the name of the site, because I realized it's blocked by the cam, it's called playcs.com with a hyphen in between. I have no affiliation to this website. I don't even like use the sign up thing. I don't even have an account. I just play. You don't even need to make an account. You can just make it. You can play. It'll be like players 045 blah whatever, and it'll just randomly assign you a name, and you just log into a few games. You don't even have to pay for anything. It's great.
We gotta do that cup tier list pretty soon, eh, Devin?
Oh yeah, our glassware.
glassware.
Glassware. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
If anyone
Score
has any
Esports official.
recommendations for double wall glass tasting glasses, let me know.
Overwatch robbed, Valorant trash game. I fucking agree, dude. But what can you do? We could change it right now, lads. We could change it right now. We could do it. We could still do it.
Put it in D, get the screenshot, and then go back.
Yeah.
We could still do it. Could still do it.
Put that as a thumbnail.
Yeah.
Well, gents, thank you. I mean, I'm sure we could. It's like what I said after the glove tier list. I'm sure we could jiggle some of the stuff around still, but we're not going to do it today.
We went with
And
the heart.
We went with the heart. All right. Put it in C. I'd love to put it in C, dog. I'd love to put it in C. It would have to be better than Source. Hove is going to kill me, but it would have to be better than Source. I cannot in good conscience say that Source is better than Valorant. That would be insane. But it could go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we think can we put Overwatch ahead of Valorant?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
You guys are okay with that?
Yeah.
I feel this way. I'm not just trying to tell people. I'm not trying to be like a douche, and like I genuinely think Overwatch is a better game. But I just want to know if like
The way I like to think about things is like which one. Maybe this is a very bad way of thinking about things, but like which one would I be okay with not existing anymore?
yeah.
And like it's Valorant.
I
Valorant's-
agree.
I love Valorant. It's a good game, but like if you're gonna put the two in front of me, and I need to pull the lever on the trolley.
It's just
Overwatch
like
stays.
there's nothing. I don't want to. I mean, obviously, I could just go back and play TF2, but like nothing truly replaces Overwatch. What's that other one they made? Is it Clash Royale or what's it called?
Paladins.
Paladins. That's what it is. Yeah, I've never tried it, but
yeah.
I like this, but I don't want people to fucking lose their minds.
I'd say we keep it.
I like
I think
this.
we're good. I think we're good.
I feel better about this. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I feel better about this.
That
It's more
last minute
honest.
decision.
It's
fixed
just
everything.
it's more honest to how I feel, and I just want to make sure you guys feel the same because I don't want like this is our list, right? I don't
Yeah,
wanna,
no, absolutely.
No, I agree with you.
Okay. Well, guys, we did it. This is it. We did it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We'll see you next week for possibly another tier list. And what do you guys think? Do you guys want to hop back on the stream at some point? Chat, you guys want them back?
Absolutely.
These lovely
Well, I
lads.
won't.
No.
I won't speak for the chat, but
They did a great job.
you guys enjoyed me.
And you guys just don't have to listen to me all the time.
We'll do hot retakes in 1.6, the browser one.
Fuck yes.
Oh, that would be fun.
Don't
We should
threaten me
play
with a
some
good time, Devin Coull.
1.6.
God damn it, bro. Chris Barrow's gonna have a heart attack. I'm gonna fucking out here doing hot
He's gonna
retake.
log on and see what we're doing. He's like, what the fuck?
What the fuck are you doing? Yeah, playing 1.6. That would be sick.
It's what
bro.
the people wanted.
It's what the people wanted. All right,
Quake
guys.
people
Quake
watching.
duels in the chat too.
Quake duels. Let's go.
Just OG gamers over here.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. This was a really fun stream. Really enjoyed it. Went a little long, but not as long as Gloves. We kept it pretty tame. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, chat. Have a good one.
Bye bye.